And welcome back to Grady's Fields. We're about to start game number 2 of the doubleheader against the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Lash alongside Lance Morris. And here's the first pitch to Forrest Perrin. Goes on the inside corner for a strike. Nick Street on the mound. His second start of the season. We saw him on Monday against the Southern Ohio Copperheads. Second pitch is driven to deep left field. Going, and bounces off the left field wall. Jonathan Bravo in left, White Hogan in left field will throw it in. And it'll be a leadoff double for Perrin. But it rushed here to start the game as we're just getting our lineups and everything. 30 minutes between games. A bit of a stress deal for us here in the press box. Forrest Perrin leads off game number 2 with a double. Scouts won the first game by a score of 6-1. Ben Aldridge got his 5th win of the season. And next pitch in there for a strike. Lance, who's coming up.
Coming up right now is Michael Resner, and then it'll be Hunter Handel.
We're relying a lot on Lance Morris. I have literally no lineups written down as Perrin is on the move. That one's flown up, and Perrin's got the skimper back to second. Lee Solomon's going to catch it, throw to second. No, he's going to bite that one, and it's going to be an infield fly to Lee Solomon. As Hunter Handel comes up to the dish.
Hunter Handel 2 for 7 in this series against the Scouts, including game 1.
Forrest Perrin stands on second after the leadoff double off of Nick Street, today's starting pitcher here in game number 2. Second game of doubleheader. Scouts riding a 4-game win streak. Nick Street on the mound. Here's the pitch down well outside. Zach Wiley behind the dish for the Baby Blues. Just learned that Miles Wright has a fracture in his foot and will be out for the rest of the season. David Gong getting the start today in right field. Next pitch towards Handel. That one's skied high in the air. Levi Gilcrease, Lee Sullivan running after it. Gilcrease looks like he's going to call everyone off and put it away. So after a leadoff double given up by Street, he gets the next 2 batters to fly out.
Now that'll bring up Aiden Campbell, the third baseman, to the plate. 2 for 6 against the Scouts this season.
Campbell struggled in that first game. Did have a costly error. Scouts won that one 6-1. Nick Street, the big righty. That one is going to be in there. And I guess Zach Wiley just lost it in his glove or something because he didn't make the throw to third as Perrin steals second to third. That one in there for a strike as Campbell couldn't check his swing. Nick Street coming from Michigan, transfer from Owens Community College. Next pitch is a bit outside. Makes the count 1-2. Next pitch is going to be driven towards right field, and David Gaunt will put it away. So after Perrin causes some danger on the base pass with a leadoff double and steals third, he's going to be stranded on third base. And Nick Street gets out of the jam.
That's absolutely huge for the Xenia Scouts in that first inning for Nick Street. In his first start just this past Monday against the Southern Ohio Copperheads, he struggled mightily in that opening inning, gave up a run, and thought we might have to take him out before the first inning was even over. So the fact that he went through the first inning relatively easily outside of that double from Perrin shows how good he can be when he's on.
Nick Street, most he's gone in this season was on Monday where he pitched the first 2 innings of the contest coming off a torn labrum surgery. Now let's see how long he goes here. Looked pretty good against Southern Ohio after the first 3 batters where he loaded the bases. And he did pretty good here in the top of the first inning.
Now the starter for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club will be Alex Albright. He just finished up his junior year. He'll be a senior at Baldwin Wallace in the fall. He's from North Royalton, Ohio. He's a 6'4" righty. It's 1 of 2 on the season, 1 win, 2 losses This would be his 5th appearance, also his 5th start. So he started every time he's came into the ballgame before 57 ERA. And his last outing was July 5th against the Grand Lake Mariners, in which the Northern Ohio Baseball Club won 3-2. And Albright went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts.
Now, our apologies. We're not sure at what point the string went down in game number 1. We lost Wi-Fi here at the AIA Sports Complex in Grady's Field, and the string dropped accordingly. So we're not exactly sure at what point that was. But the Scouts did get the victory, 6-1. Ben Aldridge pitched 7 innings of 3-hit baseball and 2-hit baseball, and only gave up 1 run. So a phenomenal performance from Ben.
Yeah, Ben did great in game 1. He seemed to be working from the get-go. Had a tiny little hiccup in inning number 4 after he walked Handle on 4 straight pitches. Brett Kajanik came on for the first hit of the game for Northern Ohio, and that brought home Hunter Handle to score an only run in game 1 of the doubleheader.
And here comes Lee Solomon. He went 2 for 2 in the first contest with an RBI and a sac fly RBI, 1 of 3 of the Scouts' 6 runs. First pitch to Lee, well inside from Albright.
Lee's 3 for 9 against Northern Ohio this season.
Now it faced the 6'4 righty, the Yellow Jacket from Baldwin Wallace. Next pitch in there for a strike. Now 1-1 to Lee.
Lee came into the day hitting .258 on the season. Has been struggling as of late.
That one inside as well. Just misses the baby blue jersey of Lee Solomon. Again, thank you for joining us in Grady's Field. 2-1 count to Lee Solomon. Here comes the throw from the big righty. That one bounces in the field turf by home plate. 3-1 now. Scouts looking for victory number 5 in a row after winning 4 straight with the last game victory. That one is foul, just left of the third base foul line. Couldn't walk the tightrope, and it'll be a full count in the first batter Alexander Albright has faced.
Good job from Lee Solomon working it back to a full count. See what he can do on the payoff.
Stands on the left side of the rubber. Payoff pitch. Chopped towards Reisner at short. Throws to first. Bit high, but Hunter Handle is able to put it away. So 1 up, 1 down. We did see Michael Reisner with 2 errors in that first game that only went 7 innings. And that's the first time today Lee Solomon is going to be sacked.
So that brings up Christian Binger. He's 3 for 9 this summer against the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. Came in today hitting .268.
Christian had a nice RBI double back in game number 1 as the sun goes away, and that ball goes away to right field. As Damiano picks it up, throws it in. And Christian Binger will have a single.
And earlier on this week, Christian Binger broke his 9-game hitting streak. Carnahan with the 10. It is 10. Excuse me. I thought it was 9. And I think it was Kyle that got to 9 before it broke, and it was Christian that got to 10. Just getting those top of the lineup guys mixed up as they check on Binger at second.
And as both are in the game right now, Kyle Carnahan now steps to the plate. Christian Binger on first base. Christian got his first hit after going hitless the last 2 against the Mariners earlier today. Now has hit some back-to-back games. First pitch, second pitch. Nope, that was first pitch to Kyle Carnahan. 0-1 count. What's 1 out? 0-1 count. I'm confusing Will Cruz up here in the press box. That's my bad. 0-1 with 1 out. Pick up attempt towards Binger on first base as if he got that single to right field. Still a little frazzled up here. They're sprinting around, trying to figure things out between the games, between a Wi-Fi that completely dropped and Kids Day here at Xenia. And the next pitch goes a bit high. Does not curve back into the zone. 2-1 now to Mr. Hot Corner. Kyle Carnahan went 5 for 5 yesterday. A triple short of the cycle. Christian Binger gets his lead off of first. Press box today will be ran by the Johannes household as Miles Wright be handling the music. Lance Morris and myself on the play-by-play, giving you accounts of today's game, and Will Cruz on the scoreboard. Rick and Linda, ever hear this? How's it going at home? Here comes the next pitch to Kyle Carnahan, a bit low, 2-2. Evened up to the third baseman.
This is Miles' first time getting to hear our broadcasting live, so thinks what we say is quite hilarious.
Unfortunately, Miles just suffered that foot injury. Not completely sure he's not faking it, though. Here comes the 2-2. Foul backwards. Christian Binger stands off of first base. Kyle Carnahan back at the plate. 0-0 ball game, folks, here at Grady's Field. A beautiful Saturday afternoon for baseball. Old Glory waving in right field to the left as the wind's taking not too much wind. We'll take balls to the left. 2-2, 1 out. Albright delivers, and that's going to be checked. And they're going to say he went. They're saying Kyle went around. It's going to be an appeal. No, he's Christian Binger at first base, so Ash is going to strike out Kyle Carnahan. That's a really tough call for Mr. Hot Corner.
That's just a really bad call. No way his bat went around.
David Gaunt now comes up to the plate. His Washburn teammate trying to pick Kyle up. David went 0 for 3 in the first game. Binger gets his lead off a second with 2 outs now. Big swing and a miss. Binger's on the move. Head first slide, and he's in there in plenty of time. Now Christian in scoring position. 0-1 count back at the plate to David Gaunt.
That'll be Binger's 7th steal on the season.
Austin Orr sits on deck in the DH role today. Scouts with a new lineup. As we see, David Gaunt in right field for the second time this season. It was against the Lake Erie Monarchs in game number 2 of the year. Last time we saw David in right field. He's been behind the plate or in the DH role ever since.
So it's probably something we're going to have to get used to for the last couple games of the season that depletes our outfield. So could see a lot more going out in right field.
Definitely see a lot more Jonathan Bravo as well. And Wyatt Hogan, who is in left field today. Bravo getting the sit in game number 2. 0-1 pitch. That one is going to be skied high. Forrest Perrin. And Hunter Handel now calling him off. And that will do it. Christian Binger stranded on an island in second base. So a similar story for both these teams. 1 hit and 1 left on in scoring position. And we're going to the top of the second inning, folks. Tied at goose eggs between the Xenia Scouts and the Northern Ohio Baseball Club.
So that'll bring Nick Street back out for his second inning of work. So we'll have to see how long the leash is for Nick. The most we've seen him go in a game is those 2 innings we saw him go on Monday. We'll see if he can go beyond that. We haven't seen him since Monday, so got to think he's fully rested after his start on Monday.
Lance, who's coming up for the side for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club?
For Northern Ohio, it's a lot of the same guys, just in different spots in the order, and one defensive change. It's Brett Kajanik out in left field. He was the DH last game. And then it'll be Mark Pizzanello, played left field last game. He'll be the DH for today. And then it'll be right fielder Antonio Damiano. He's 1 for 9 against the Scouts this summer. Yeah.
And we're here in the top of the second inning. Scouts looking for that 5th straight victory. Now through 37 games, have a 22-15 record. 3rd in the league. We saw earlier the Hamilton Joes beat the Lake Erie Monarchs that ended their 7-game win streak. That's who the Scouts are chasing in second place. Quite a bit behind him as that ball misses outside from Nick Street, 1-0 to the left-hander, Brett Kajanik. Lance mentioned Kajanik in the DH spot in game number 1, now in left field. That one's going to hit him off of his ankle. Going to hop it off and take first base. So leadoff hit by pitch to start the top of the second here as Mark Pizzanello comes to the dish. Kajanik on first. Scouts and Northern Ohio Baseball Club tied up at 0 here in the top of the second inning with no outs and 1 on. Nick Street on the mound. He winds and delivers. Inside corner for a strike. Good delivery from the 6'6" right-hander Nick Street. He's also pretty nimble. We saw in the last game against Southern Iowa Copperheads made a couple of nice slides off the mound to stop some grounders and throw to first base. You know, I talked about it after the game. Future career as a break dancer for Nick Street. Infield for the Scouts today. Lincoln Reed on first. Christian Binger on second. Lee Solomon at short and Kyle Carnahan at third. And Zach Wiley behind the dish. That one curves but misses the inside corner. 1-1 now to Pete Sinello. Brett Kajanik stands off first base. And that one misses high. 2-1 now to Pizzanello. Scouts in their baby blue tops and white home bottoms here at Grady's Field, Northern Ohio, and they're all gray. That one's going to be chopped behind us. That one's fouled way backwards. The bounce was right above us here at the press box. We hear it resound and vibrate. 2-2 to mark Pete Sinello, the designated Northern Ohio Baseball Club. Nick Street 1 strike away from his first strikeout of the day. That one just misses a tad low, not by much. So a full count now to Pete Sinello.
Not by much indeed. That must have just bottomed out before it got to the strike zone. This time is called at the plate.
Antonio Damiano on deck. 1 for 9 in the series against the Janik on first. No outs. That one's going to hit Pizzanello, and back-to-back batters beamed by Street. They'll put runners on first and second with no outs here on the top of the second. Scouts in a little bit of danger. I have to see how long it takes before Coach Bubba Cade starts some activity in the Scouts bullpen. It's going to bring up Damiano, the right fielder. One delivery from Street. Inside corner for a strike. 0-1. Good first pitch from Nick.
Nick is one of those guys. He's gotten better with every single time he takes the mound as he's been recovering from the labor room surgery all summer long.
0-1. And that's going to hit the batter as well. So the bases have been loaded on hit by pitches. And Nick Street in a dangerous predicament right now with chalk bases and no outs here in the top of the second inning. Coach Bubba Cates is going to have a meeting on the mound as we see Tony Campbell stroll out to the bullpen. Cale Giddings looks like he's going to go catch him, as all three catchers for the Scouts are in the game. As David Gahn plays right field, Lincoln Reed plays first base. And Zach Wiley is behind the plate, actually. So very different Xenia Scouts lineup, as they're going to have to learn how to adjust and throw some substitutions here and there in the absence of Miles Wright. In a tough spot right now, as Coach K is definitely trying to bide his time out there for his big righty. Nishri has worked out of a bases loaded situation before with minimal damage back in Southern Ohio. Only give up 1 run with no outs and bases loaded in the top of the first inning in that bottom of the first inning in that contest. And arguably could have got out with no runs. So that brings up Eric Eldred, the catcher. 0-2 in the series against the Scouts. First pitch to the man behind the plate is a bit low. 1-0 from Street. So 0-7 is Eric Eldridge in this series. That one just misses him by a nose hair, if that. 0-2 now, or excuse me, 2-0 now to the catcher.
And Nick definitely struggling with some control issues right now.
That one in there for a strike. Good recovery by Nick Street. trying to work out of this bases loaded jam with no outs here in the top of the second inning and in the scoreless ball game between the Scouts and the Northern Ohio Baseball Club right down Detroit Street for strike number 2. Evens up the count at 2 apiece. Eric Eldred at the dish. Righty versus righty battle. Here's the 2-2 delivery. And they're going to say that went off his bat and a check swing. It almost looks like it hit him again. Remember, the base is loaded on 3 hit batters. And the 2-2 delivery again has to be swung and past the head of Christian Binger. And that's going to bring the game's first run. Levi Gilchrist on a fire towards home, cut off by Lincoln Reed on the mound. But the bases will still be loaded, and the Northern Ohio Baseball Club leads this game by a score of 1-0 and still in some serious position to do some damage with no outs.
Now just blew that one out into a short center field in front of Levi Gilchrist to bring home Kajanik for the run. So a little bit of an inverse as Kajanik was the guy to get the first hit in game 1 to score the first run.
That was the first hit of the inning, first run of the game. Second hit given up by Street as Daniel Watson steps up to the plate. Watson 2 for 6 in the series against the Scouts. Bases swung on and missed. 0-1 now to the center fielder.
Sick against the Scouts.
But he's had some success batting .333 against the Baby Blues. Bases loaded. 0-1 pitch. That one falls too far. 1-1 as it bounces off the pellets. 2-1 count to Daniel Watson. Nick Street trying to get out of this tough predicament. 2-1 pitch. Swung and missed. That's like he had Watson ahead on that one. Again, Nick Street coming off of labrum surgery. His second start of the season. I believe this is only his 5th inning. He's going to hit Watson. The 4th time he's hit a batter here in the top of the second inning, and that's going to make it 2-0 Northern Ohio Baseball Club. It's going to be one of the easiest and one of the most painful RBIs Daniel Watson will get this season. That brings home Mark Pizzanello. Antonio Damiano stands on third base. He was hit by a pitch earlier. Eric Eldred is on second after he singled, and Daniel Watson stands on first after the RBI hit by a pitch, and that's going to do it for Nick Street. Tough day for Nick. Gives up 2 runs. Both of them earned through 1 inning of pitching, and all 3 of these runners on base will be earned to Nick as Tony Campbell comes into the game, and it's going to be a hefty day for the Scouts bullpen. Will Cruz sitting next to me pitched last night, but he might have to get back down on the field because we could use some help. Tony Campbell, we saw him the other night up in Grand Lake in Salina, Ohio to take on the Mariners, and he did very well. And 3 innings of pitching. Only give up 1 earned run, but can't really be faulted for that as a double off the bat of Robert Greenman fell over the head of Jonathan Bravo as he lost it in the lights. He was later scored on an errant throw towards home plate, and that one has a 1 earned run against Campbell. But besides that, a stunning afternoon from the righty from Nyack College in New York. Originally from Katy, Texas, high school teammates at Katy Taylor High School with Miles Wright. Mustangs. I was going to impress Miles because I knew that offhand I was going to say that, but he said it beforehand, so I lose a bit of my thunder.
Why'd you got to steal his thunder, Miles?
So Tony Campbell in a tough spot here. Bases loaded, no outs. Tony Campbell will not blow it by you. Tops out around 85 range, but throws from a lot of different arm angles. Will throw a sidearm pitch every once in a while and has great movement to his ball. Can drop it off the table into the strike zone. We've seen that time and time again this year.
We also heard he has a knuckleball, but we have not seen it in a game yet.
And this point is more of a myth. That's going to bring up the top of the Northern Ohio Baseball Club order. And Forrest Perrin. Perrin doubled off the left field wall on his first at bat against Nick Street. As time will be called at the dish. Tony Campbell pitches on the far left side of the rubber looking at home plate. As the sun drops, we have a little bit of shade at Grady's Field, much needed on this humid afternoon. That one's going to be roped towards third base. Almost hit the back of the 3 of Antonio Damiano. Just missed him. That one hooked foul. 0-1 from Campbell now. Bases loaded, no outs. Northern Ohio Baseball Club leads in this one by a score of 2-0 in the top of the second inning. Second pitch from Campbell drops into that zone for a strike like he placed it there. 0-2 to Perrin.
Campbell comes in a tough spot, and he's working well. Gets up 0-2.
0-2 pitch. Checked on. Good decision from Perrin to hold off of that one well outside the zone as Zach Wiley had to move on his knees to his right to get in front of it. Still bases loaded. 2-0 score for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club with no outs. A new pitcher, Tony Campbell, here in the top of the second inning. 1-2 is going to be flied wide and high in the air. Levi Gilchrist gets him. They're not going to send the runner in for good reason, as we saw the hose from Levi Gilchrist throw back home. And Tony Damiano sitting on third thinking, yeah, that was a good decision not to try to test that out.
Yeah, it always just amuses me whenever people even feign the idea of trying to tag up on Levi, because just about 9 out of 10 times you will get thrown out.
There's been 5 runners put on in this inning. That was the first out recorded. 4 of those were hit by Nick Street, who has since been substituted by Tony Campbell as he faces Michael Reisner now. That one's hit towards center field. Let's see what Damiano does this time. I'm going to guess he stays, and he will. That was going to be tipped by Lincoln Reed. That was almost a very dangerous situation. It tipped off the glove of Lincoln Reed on the cutoff, bounced in the turf in front of Zach Wiley. That would have went past him. That would have scored Damiano at third, but good block from Zach Wiley. Now that brings up Hunter Handel. Scouts could get out of this bases loaded situation with only 2 runs given up. That would be huge for Tony Campbell. Here's the first pitch to Handel, low in the turf. Good block by Wiley on the backhand. Hunter Handel, big lefty first baseman. Did well in the Scouts in the first game. Got on twice. Next pitch, swung on and missed, and that seats him. And he's going to propose to Tony Campbell as he gets down on one knee after that big swing and a miss.
I don't think he brought the ring.
I don't think he brought the ring. That was his first mistake. 1-1 count with 2 outs. Bases loaded. Scouts up 2-0. 1-1 pitch. That curves, but not in time or in the zone. 2-1 now from the righty. Tony Campbell working on the rubber, trying to get out of this bases loaded jam. 2-1 pitch, foul backwards. That one just tipped off the edge of the barrel of Hunter Handel. And Campbell's now 1 strike away from coming in with bases loaded and not giving up any more runs. Would be an incredibly impressive feat. 2-2 count with 2 outs and bases loaded for Campbell. Here's the throw. That one's well outside. And now we're going to have the first full count from Campbell of the afternoon.
We've seen Handel get on base a couple times today, so this guy that has experience in making something happen.
Patient at the plate, as we've seen in this at-bat. Payoff pitch incoming. That one's driven towards deep right field. David Gaunt going to make the play right at the warning track, as it looks like he was about to tumble over, and that saved a number of runs off of the arm of Tony Campbell. Owes David a Snickers bar back of the dugout. Nice play in his second start in right field for David Gaunt.
Why a Snickers?
It's a good candy bar.
It's a good candy bar, I guess. It's not the best.
I'd agree. But we'll save our candy bar debate for another day. Or multiple days. That could be a very heated debate. As we're headed to the bottom of the second inning. It is 2-0. The Northern Ohio Baseball Club leads. Now it's up to the Scouts' bats to come alive and help out Nick Street to avoid giving him his first loss of the season and give the Scouts their 5th straight victory.
Yeah, we'll have to see if the bats can pick up for Nick Street, who just went the 1 inning. He couldn't get out in the second inning. Actually hit by pitch was what loaded up the bases. So we'll see if the Scouts can get working early. They got 1 in the first inning and 4 in the second inning in game 1 of this doubleheader. So you have to think the bats have been just sleeping while they had some time to rest. And now that they had a little half-hour break, they should be ready to go.
That was one quick half hour. It seems like these two teams just stopped playing, and then they're ready to go again. Scouts come into this game. This is game number 38 of the season with a 22-15 record, looking for victory number 5. They'll be in action again next week against the Galleon Graders up in Galleon, Ohio, north of Columbus. They'll play those games on Saturday and Sunday and get the whole week off. The Scouts will be volunteering at Vacation Bible School at Emmanuel Baptist Church here, where the Scouts have their discipleship every day.
And actually, I have a quick story. I got to talk to Zach Gilcrease in the dugout in between games during that little mini half-hour break. He brought the 18 jersey potentially for Jonathan Bravo, as he had a tear in his number 7 jersey, so thought he might have to wear 18 today. And so Bravo got his jersey all fixed up, and then Zach just accidentally put on 18 and said, I'll go with it.
All righty, and let's the success as the Scouts won 6-1 as Austin Orr fouls that first pitch he sees off of Albright outside of the Scouts bullpen. So 0-1 to the lefty from Jackson, Tennessee, the Bulldog from Union University.
Austin Orr will lead off this inning. Then it'll be first baseman Lincoln Reed and center fielder Levi Gilcrease.
Austin waves his lumber. That 0-1 pitch misses a bit low. 1-1 now to Orr.
Orr's 1 for 6 this summer against Northern Ohio.
All right, the 6'4" righty still on the mound. That one is going to be looped, but not in front of left field as Kajanik makes a beautiful sliding catch. Thought I might drop in front of him, but he did a good job getting in front of that one.
Yeah, looked off the bat like that one was going to loop into left field for a base hit single for Orr, but nice play from Kajanik out in lefty. Has some fresher legs than most of the other guys, as he was the DH in game 1, and he makes a nice play out there and left for the first out.
That's going to bring up Lincoln Reed, who's playing first today. That one hit towards Kajanik and left as well. So first pitch swing, Lincoln Reed flies out to Kajanik, and Austin Orr and Lincoln Reed suffer the same fate to start the bottom of the second. And Levi Gilcrease will now come to the plate.
Levi is 3 for 9 against the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. Came into the day with a 225 average.
It's a nice last couple of games. First pitch to Levi in there for a strike, 3 for 9 against Northern Ohio Baseball Club. In the first game, Levi went 2 for 3. That one is going to be swung and fouled out of play, so Levi quickly goes down 0-2. All right, a strike away. We're going 1-2-3 here in the bottom of the second inning. Gilcrease will step back in. Here comes the throw from Albright. That one's going to be lined up the middle and pass. Reesner adds short for his single. Levi Gilcrease continues his recent tear and will provide a 2-out single to put 1 runner on the bases for the Baby Blues. That brings up Wyatt Hogan. Getting back-to-back starts in left field today. All right on the mound for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. He's from North Royalton, Ohio.
And Levi now has a 5-game hit streak going on.
Levi has a 5-game hit streak, and he's going to be trying to be picked off at first from Albright, but back in time. You also have 12 steals on the season. So you got one in the first game, 1 away from Tiny Lee Solomon to lead the team. Next, first pitch to Wyatt Hogan. That's going to get past Eldridge at the dish, and that's going to be a pass ball, and Now Gilcrease in scoring position with 2 outs. One and 0 count to Wyatt Hogan. Gilcrease on second base with 2 outs. Scouts down 2-0 in this contest. Here's the throw towards home. That one's in the turf. 2-0 now to Wyatt. Wyatt has 13 walks on this season. Got one yesterday. That one, the top part of the strike zone from Albright. After that delivery, the count is 2-1 to the left fielder. All right, trying to cut into this 2-0 lead with Gilcrease on second. Pickoff attempt, and that one was in the turf. That was a good block by Forrest Perrin. If that would have went to center field, who knows what Gilcrease would have done. Definitely would have went to third. We know that for sure. Don't know if he would have rounded third, trying to go home or not. Back at the dish, though, Wyatt Hogan with a 2-1 count from Alexander Albright. He rises and fires. That one's going to be swung on and fouled out of play just right. Oh, the visiting bullpen. Zach Wiley on deck right now. 3 catchers in the starting 9 for the Xenia Scouts. Lincoln Reed, David Gahn, and Zach Wiley all playing today, a third of the team. That one curves, but not well enough into the zone, so it's going to stay high. Makes the count 3-2.
And Wyatt's been very patient at the plate the last couple of days. Notice his swing hasn't been the best these last few games, but has been patient and has worked his way on a few times.
Payoff pitch incoming. All right, checks Gilcrease at second. Here it comes. That's going to be swung on. Popped up towards right field. Let's see if it lands in foul territory, and it will. It was a nice effort from Forrest Perrin. He dove for it, but was unable to get his leather on the ball. And we'll do it again. Payoff pitch 2.0 for Wyatt Hogan. After that one, just barely missed the final out of the inning. I'll do it again at 3-2 with Levi Gilcrease getting his lead off of second base. He got there with a single, and then it was advanced to second on a pass ball from Eric Eldred behind the plate for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. Scouts trailing this one 2-0. Wyatt Hogan might have something to say about that. Gilcrease on the move, and that does not matter as Wyatt Hogan goes down swinging, and that strikeout is going to retire the Scouts here in the inning of the second inning. I don't know. I was going to say a lot of sense, Lance.
Not especially. And that'll be the second strikeout of the game for Albright.
He's looked pretty good out there on the mound for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. And the Scouts go to inning number 3 now. With Tony Campbell still on the rubber, trailing 2-0. So there's going to have to be a comeback victory if they want to get that 5th straight victory.
So now we're going to have to see how long we'll have to stick with Tony Campbell, because a very thin bullpen, as the other only pitchers listed were Thomas Wanning and Joe Chasen. So you got to wonder how much these guys will stay in the game. We're going to need a lot out of Tony Campbell. He came in just a second inning. You got to think they want to at least get through the 5th inning or so with him on the hill.
And he does superb to start this game, coming in with bases loaded and no outs. That's putting a relief pitch in the worst possible position that he could be in. And Tony Campbell handled the adversity, came in with his back against the wall, and shut down 3 straight batters to slam the door shut and leave 3 stranded, and gave the Scouts some life. Also got to thank David Gahn, who made that nice play in right field.
And not only was it a nice play in its own right, that's only the second time this season that David has been in the outfield. He's, like we've said earlier, been predominantly a catcher/DH this summer. So the fact that in his first game in a while being out there in just the second inning of play makes a great play to save a few runs. So
we're heading to the top of the 3rd, and Lance, what's the side coming up for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club?
It'll be Aiden Campbell to lead it off, then Brett Kajanik and Mark Pisanella.
First pitch, Aiden Campbell is going to be grounded towards Lee Solomon at short. Picks it up, throws to first in time. The outstretched glove of Lincoln Reed. Great job by Lincoln with the full extension to his left to put away the first out. So 1 pitch, 1 out here in the top of the third. Scouts trailing 2-0.
And a fair warning that the next 3 batters we talk about were hit by a pitch. So Brett Kajanik will come to plate.
First pitch from Tony Campbell. Now this is a bit low to Kajanik. Kajanik was scored from Eric Eldridge on an RBI single. Second pitch gets him swinging. 1-1 now to the left fielder, who we saw make that nice play in left to start the bottom of the second inning. That put away Austin Orr. 1-1. That one finds that inside corner for a strike. Campbell still looking for that first strikeout of the afternoon. 1-2 count now at the dish to Brett Kajanik. And here comes that 1-2. He's going to chop that one towards Carnahan. Past him at third. Lee Solomon short picks it up, but will not have a play. So it'll be an infield single for Brett Kajanik, who's 1 for 1 today. I should probably clarify. When I say today, I mean in this game, because there's a lot that happened today earlier in the first game of this contest, but it wasn't in game number 2. Okay.
Just trying to confuse people at home.
I'm trying my best here. Mark Pisanello, the designated hitter at the plate of Kajanik on first hit of the day, given up by Tony Campbell. First pitch to Pisanello in there for a strike on the top part of the zone. 0-1 now. Campbell staying aggressive. Brett Kajanik gets his lead over at first base. Lincoln Reed holding him on. 0-1 pitch. That one curves too far inside. Evened up at 1 apiece to Mark Pisanello. As we saw earlier, the Hamilton Joes were victorious in their first game against the Lake Erie Monarchs. That one's going to be lined into left field in front of Wyatt Hogan. So back-to-back singles for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. Gives them a threat here in the top of the third inning. The Northern Ohio Baseball Club already leads 2-0 over the Xenia Scouts here in game number 2. Xenia won the first contest 6-1. Tony Campbell, who came in relief for Nick Street, who started today's game, shut down the Northern Ohio Baseball Club with bases loaded and no outs. Didn't give up any runs. Now have to fight back with runner in scoring position again. First pitch up top to Antonio Damiano.
So last time Campbell came into the game, it was all because of guys that were left on by Nick Street. But this time, Tony Campbell doing his own damage with just a 1 out here in the top of the third. So going to have to work from behind once again.
Last time we saw Tony Campbell was Zach Wiley behind the plate. So they've had some chemistry build up these last few days. And here comes the next pitch, a bit low in the turf. 2-1 now. 2-0 now from Tony Campbell. Runners on first and second, 1 out. Double play ball in effect. That one's going to be popped up high. Campbell points. And throwing off and put 2 down now, and the 2 runners on. Guys trying to get out of top of the third with this 2-0 deficit intact.
And that one wouldn't have mattered if Christian Mayer caught it because it was ruled an infield fly as the umpires pointed up to the sky when the ball was at its highest point.
And that brings up Eric Eldridge, the catcher for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. He had the RBI single back in that big second inning for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. Now runners on first and second. That one's going to plunk him. That's going to be the 5th batter of the day that's been hit by Scouts pitchers. 4 from Nick Street, now 1 from Tony Campbell. And Campbell is going to have bases loaded now for Daniel Watson.
And ironically enough, Eldridge was the only guy in the bottom of the lineup that wasn't hit the first time around by Nick Street. Kajanik, Pisanello, Damiano, and Watson all hit by pitches. Eldridge was the only one that wasn't.
So the 5 through 9 batters all hit today for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. First pitch to Daniel Watson. Fouled off as a dribble left in foul territory. 0-1 count to him now. Tony Campbell, not unfamiliar with a bases loaded spot. He was put into the game with bases loaded, no outs, and didn't give up any runs. So This will be his fourth batter faced in the bases loaded situation. Let's see if we can get his fourth out. 0-1 count to Watson. That one just misses the outside part of the strike zone, evened up at 1 apiece. Bases loaded. Tony Campbell on the rubber. The Warrior from Nyack College. Here comes the next pitch. Swung on and missed. Got Watson way out ahead of that one. He was chasing the breaking ball that went too far in the zone for his bat to keep up with. Tony Campbell a strike away from leaving 3 more runners stranded for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. 1-2 pitch. That one's going to be fouled back behind us as they exit Grady's field. And we'll do it again at 1-2 with 2 outs. Scouts trailing in this contest 2-0.
And if Tony Campbell can work himself out of another bases-loaded jam with nobody out to start, it's a great job.
Here's the 1-2. That was going to be checked on, but he went around. So that's going to be a strikeout looking, and Tony Campbell again leaves the bases loaded.
If he went around, wouldn't it be technically a swing?
It would be a swing. Yep, you're right. So it's not a strikeout looking. It's a strikeout swing.
Still a strikeout.
I wasn't sure at first if they said it was in the zone or if he went around, but I think he went around.
The point,
yeah,
he went around.
Definitely went around. So it will be a strikeout swinging to Daniel Watson. And now Tony Campbell has the Northern Ohio Baseball Club 0 for 4 against him in bases loaded situations. And now 7 runners have been left on by the Northern Ohio Baseball Club through 3 innings. And we're going to the bottom of the third. Scouts still trailing 2-0 as Tony Campbell works out of the danger. They're in the top half of the inning. Alexander Albright stepping back onto the mound here at Grady's Field. So far through 2 innings, he's only given up 2 hits and no runs to the Scouts. Much better play by the defense of the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. 4 errors in game number 1 through 7 innings in that first contest, most of which were coming early on in the game.
Yeah, Northern Ohio's defense struggled mightily in game 1. It just seemed like they weren't quite ready out there, and we saw a few errors from some different guys. We saw 2 from Reisner and then 1 from Campbell, and then we saw 1 from Eldred behind the plate trying to throw out a runner. So saw 4 errors in game 1 in just a 7-inning contest. That's quite a bit anyway, but in just 7 innings, that's a lot of errors.
This is the last regular season game at home of the year for the Xenia Scouts. Hard to believe, as we'll be on the road to Galleon next time you hear Lance Morris and myself, Terry Lash. And then we have the playoffs. Scouts most likely will be getting a home game in the first round. It will be an elimination game. Winner takes all. That will set up the second round, where it's best of 3, as is the championship round. And Lance, who's coming up before we get to the championship round of the playoffs, here in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Well, here in the bottom of the 3rd inning, it'll be led off by the number 9 hitter for today's contest, Zach Wiley. Then we'll be back to the top of Lee Solomon and Christian Binger.
First pitch to Zach Wiley. Swung on and missed. Good cut from the catcher. Sporting that new bat, we saw him unveil up at Montgomery Field against the Grand Lake Mariners. 0-1 to Wiley. That one's way up top.
I think that one might have slipped out of Albright's hand.
I think so, too. We have seen problems with balls slipping out of the hands of some of these players. It's very hot down there on the field turf. It makes it about 5 to 10 degrees hotter for the players and must have some sweaty palms. 1-1 goes low. They're saying it's about 105 on the field, so maybe more than 5 to 10 degrees. 2-1 to Wiley. That one's going to be fouled out of play to the right side. He lines that one out and evens it up at 2-2. Scouts trailing 2-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd. No one on, no one out. Wiley 0 for 3 against the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. 2-2 pitch, and that one just misses outside. Good eye from Wiley. And it's going to be the second full count of the afternoon for Albright. Last time was the last batter he faced, and Wyatt Hogan, he struck him out swinging. 3-2 pitch. That one's going to be hit high, high, high in the sky. Might kiss the clouds before it's going to be put away by Daniel Watson in center field. And that's going to send Zach Riley to the dugout.
As you might have seen in the webcam, after Wiley popped that one up, he was frustrated. He was like, ready to throw down his bat, but then he realized his bat is almost brand new, so then he just softly flipped it.
Smart decision. You don't want to spike a brand new bat into the field turf. No fly out to center field is worth that, as Lee Solomon comes out to the plate. He shows bunt, pulls back, and it looks like it was a bit low for a ball, 1-0. 1-0 count now to Lee Solomon. That's one out. Scott showing 2-0. That one's going to be grounded over towards Reasoner. Throws to handle that first. Digs it out of the turf. And 2 up, 2 down for the Scouts, who are struggling early on in this second game of the doubleheader. Remember, game number 2 goes 9 innings.
The Scouts bat's definitely struggling thus far. We've seen a hit from Christian, and we've seen a hit from Levi. Those are the only 2 Scouts with base hits so far in game 2.
And that brings up Christian Binger, one of 2 Scouts with hits in the afternoon. Single back in the first inning and stole second. First pitch, and it's going to be driven towards Perrin at second. On the 2-hop, throws it to first, and it is a 1-2-3 quick inning for Alex Albright on the mound for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. First pitch swinging for Christian Binger, something we don't see very often, but we've seen twice in this game. And going to the top of the 4th, the Scouts trail the Northern Ohio Baseball Club by a score of 2-0 still.
So Christian must be seeing something he likes up there at the plate, because otherwise, easily the most patient hitter on this team with his 30 walks coming into today to lead both the team and the league. So got to think he's seeing something he likes up there. The first time up, he was able to get on with the base hit, and then came around to steal second and was later stranded, and then rounding out to Perrin over at second in his first pitch in that 3rd inning. So has to be seeing something he likes up there.
Well, it worked in the first inning as he got a single that was driven to the outfield, but that time right at Perrin. It was hit very hard to the second baseman, but there he goes as an out regardless. Now we're heading to the top of the 4th. Tony Campbell still on the mound. In his last start, he went 3 innings. That was the longest start Tony Campbell has had of this appearance he's had of the season. So we'll see how far he goes today. No activity in the Scouts bullpen right now. Thomas Wanning and Joe Chase, we both expect to see later, as Nick Street was taken out after 1 inning of pitching. Gave up 2 hits and 2 runs, both of those earned.
We're back to the top of the lineup for Northern Ohio. Before us, Perrin and Michael Reasoner, and then Hunter Handel, the first baseman.
So Forrest Perrin coming up for his 3rd time today. He's 1 for 2. Had that double off the left field wall. That was back in the first inning to start things off in game number 2. Scouts trailing 2-0. Now in the top of the 4th. First pitch from Campbell misses outside. 1-0 from the righty. Tony rises, throws. That's a bunt laid down, but foul backwards towards the deep backstop here at Grady's Field. Michael Reasoner on deck. He's 0 for 2 in today's contest. And here comes the 1-1 from Campbell. That one's going to be driven towards Carnahan. A little too hot for Mr. Hot Corner as it bounces into left field and Wyatt Hogan. So the second hit of the day for Perrin.
Yeah, Carnahan did all he could down at 3rd to get in front of that and stop it, but just wasn't able to come up with it. And that'll be another hit for Perrin.
3rd hit given up by Tony Campbell. He loaded the bases last inning, but was able to strand all 3 runners. And 7 runners left on islands for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club in the second game of this doubleheader. They lead 2-0. Pickoff attempt towards first. Perrin in there in plenty of time. We saw Perrin steal 3rd back in the first inning. And first pitch at the plate to Reasoner. Nope. We're going to call a balk. Tony Campbell's first balk as a Scout. And that puts Forrest Perrin in scoring position. Tony Campbell in a little bit of danger again. Runner in scoring position, no outs. Michael Reisner at the plate. First pitch to him. That's going to be ground towards Solomon at short. Checks up here and at second. Throws the first in time. Good stretch from Lincoln Reed. So Tony Campbell comes back in the first pitch swinging again. The third time today for Michael Reisner. And now he's 0 for 3.
So Reisner 0 for his last 6 against the Scouts. His one hit was back in the doubleheader in June.
And this is coming from a guy that was batting .333 coming in to both of these contests. And Perrin's on the move. Throw from Wiley towards third. Let's see what the ump says. He's out of there. On the absolute laser behind the plate from Zach Wiley to Kyle Carnahan. Perrin stole third back in the first inning, but not so fast here at inning number 4. 1-1 now to Hunter Handel. That one's going to be driven towards right field in front of David Gaunt. That's going to be a single first hit of the day and game number 2 for Hunter Handel. So 2 hits given up by Campbell in this inning, but no runs given up and a runner on first base after a throw out by Zach Wiley at third. They got Forrest Perrin, knew better, Aiden Campbell coming up to the dish. He's 0 for 2 in this contest. He ground to Lee Solomon last time. First pitch outside corner for a strike, 0-1. That one just misses that same spot. 1-1 evened up to Campbell. Came in today leading the Northern Ohio Baseball Club in batting average. 1-1 pitch. That one drops into the zone off of the table. 1-2 now. Campbell again a strike away from getting out of the danger he started himself in here. Top of the 4th inning. Scouts trailing 2-0. 1-2 pitch. That was a bit too low into the pellets. 2-2 with 2 outs and a runner on first base. And a 2-0 lead for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. Here's the 2-2. That one's going to be driven towards Christian Binger at second. Picks it up, throws to first, and gets him out in time. So that's going to leave 1 runner stranded. The 8th runner left on base for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. Today we're heading to the bottom of the 4th inning. Scouts still trailing 2-0.
So it's basically just a wait-and-see game right now for the Scouts. They've done everything they needed to since that 2-run second inning. They just need to have the bats cooperate with them on their offensive side of the game.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious Nick Street's still not at 100% after coming off of that labrum surgery. It's a very long procedure and a long rehabbing process, and it's been interesting seeing Nick this summer as he gets stronger and stronger from his first start against the Cincinnati Spikes, where he threw about, 7 pitches, maybe a little more than that before he had to be taken out because he himself was dealing with some soreness and had asked out of the game after pitching a third of an inning, working his way up and kind of some throwaway innings where the Scouts were either up by a lot or trailing by a lot. Then he got his first start against the Southern Ohio Copperheads on Monday and did very well. And then we got start number 2 here, has some control problems, hit 4 batters, but all in all only gave up 2 runs and is relying on his Scouts teammates to try to pick him up as we're heading to the bottom of the 4th. And Alex Albright still on the mound for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. He's only given up 2 hits through the first 3 innings. He went 1-2-3 last time. Lance, who's coming up for the Scouts here in the bottom of the 4th.
Coming up for the Scouts, it'll be 3, 4, 5 hitters. It'll be red hot still Kyle Carnahan, although he did strike out his first at bat in inning number 1. Then it'll be David Gaunt. He flew out to Hunter Handel at first base in the first inning. And then it'll be Austin Orr, who was robbed by Brett Kajanik out in left field his last time up.
Oh, here comes Kyle Carnahan. Struck out looking at that close call. Seen a few of those in both of these games for both squads. Scouts trailing 2-0. Only have 2 hits in the contest. See if Mr. Hot Corner can change that. First pitch from Albright. Bunt shown. That one's a bit low. 1-0 to Kyle Carnahan. Yeah, I've seen Kyle lay down a bunt this season for a single. Has some speed. He's an all-around athlete. Can play probably any position in the field, and that includes catcher and pitchers. We found out before the game from his dad, Scott Carnahan, who's in attendance. 1-0 pitch. That one misses well outside. 2-0 now to Kyle. David Gaunt on deck. 0 for 1 today. 0 for 4 total today after he went 0 for 3 in the first contest. Here's the 2-0 to Carnahan. And that one's a bit low. 3-0. Even with his 7 home runs on the season, second in the team in RBIs, you have to imagine he's going to be taking on a 3-0 pitch. We haven't seen a scout yet swing on 3-0 this year.
We have not.
Here's the 3-0, and there's the take. And now it's 3-1 as that one goes right across the equator from Albright. Three-one now to Kyle Carnahan. He swings at that one, driven towards center field. Daniel Watson on his horse, racing backwards, and is going to get over his head for a ground rule double over the center field wall. It looks like Watson was moving that quickly off of the bat from Carnahan. Might have misplayed it a little bit. That was a deep, well-driven ball to the furthest part of the park.
And that one was just hit well by Carnahan. We've come to expect that these last few weeks. It seems like everything off his bat is hit hard somewhere or hit far somewhere, if not a combination of the two. And Watson just wasn't able to corral that one out in center field, and it bounced over that high wall for a ground rule double.
Now brings up the league leader in home runs and RBIs, David Gaunt, with 7 home runs and 32 RBIs. Tied for the league lead in home run with Kyle Carnahan, among others. First pitch up top, 1-0. Andy Young was playing earlier today. And his first game is completed, so we'll check to see if those numbers are still accurate. Now in the 1-0 to Gaunt. That one is skied high towards right field. And battling the sun. Carnahan tags it up. He's going to try to get to third, and we'll be in there standing up and plenty of time. So a sac fly from David Gaunt to move his Washburn Ichabod teammate to third. Scouts playing a bit of small ball. As Carnahan now 90 feet away from making this a 2-1 ball game.
So a fly out there from Gaunt advances Carnahan now to third. So just one out. You have Austin Orr coming up to the plate with a chance to put this game within 1 for the Scouts.
And then David Gaunt, with 33 RBIs in the season. That is 1 more than Andy Young, who did have a couple RBIs earlier today. First pitch to the new batter, Austin Orr, inside corner for a strike. 0-1 Austin. Kyle Carnahan at third base, 0-1 pitch. Swung and missed from Austin. You got a tip of that one. Quickly 0-2. Austin flooded to left field in the last time. A sliding grab by Brett Kajanik. Would love to put the ball in play here. Have a chance to bring home his teammate. That one's well off the dish. 1-2 now from Albright. Carnahan gets his lead off of third base. Scouts trailing 2-0 here in the bottom of the 4th inning. 1-2 count to Austin Orr at the ditch. Here comes the pitch. That one's up top as well. Eric Eldridge does a good job getting out of his haunches to grab that one, even up at 2-2.
Yeah, Eldridge has done a great job these last couple of pitches behind the plate. If he didn't go and grab those, we would have already seen Kyle Carnahan come around to score.
Kyle itching to make this a 1-run ball game. 2-2 pitch. That one's going to be lined off of the glove of Albright. George Perrin at second makes the throw to first, and that's going to put out Austin Orr. But not before he scores. Kyle Carnahan, and the lead is cut to 2-1.
So he did exactly what he needed to do. He put it into the field of play to the right side of the infield, and that allowed Carnahan plenty of time to come around to score and to make it a 2-1 game.
That's what the Scouts have to do. He doesn't have to come all back in 1 inning. Just try to work back in the contest. First earned run given up by Alex Albright. First pitch swing from Lincoln Reed. Heads over to Kajanik in left field, and he puts away, falling backwards. I think he might have lost that one in the sun a little bit. But for the second time in this contest, Lincoln Reed flies out to left field on the first pitch. And that's going to do it for the 4th inning. Scouts cut into the Northern Ohio Baseball Club's lead and now trailing this contest at Grady's Field 1 after a double by Kyle Carnahan from David Gaunt, advancing him a third, and then a RBI put up from gives the Scouts their first run of the game. And we're heading to the top of the 5th inning. Tony Campbell still on the mound. He's already pitched 3 full innings, which ties his season high for an appearance. And we don't have any activity in the bullpen. There must be a big day expected off the arm of Tony Campbell. Good news for the Scouts is, after today, 7 days of rest between their next game, unless, of course, you're playing the All-Star game on Tuesday, which is one of 6 Xenia Scouts, but none of those are Tony Campbell. So if he goes deep in this contest, you'll have a long time to try to work it off. Also, Thomas Wanning and Joe Chasen, let's not expect to make appearances in this contest at some point.
And that's exactly probably what the line of thinking is, outside of the fact that the arms are limited as it is. You got to think Tony Campbell has plenty of arm to go deep into this contest. Came in back in the 2nd inning after Street was struggling out there. So you got to think they stick with Campbell for as long as they can, really, because there's going to be plenty of off time for him to recuperate between now and a week from today when we go out to Galleon.
And Lance, who's coming up for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club?
Coming up for Northern Ohio will be Brett Kajanik.
As he sees the first pitch from Campbell, that one misses outside for a ball.
After him will be Mark Pisanello, the DH, and Antonio Damiano, the right fielder.
Both Kajanik and Pisanello singled in their last time up off of Campbell. Next pitch is going to be driven towards right center field in front of David Gonzo. Back-to-back singles for Brett Kajanik, who's 2 for 2 today and has been on all 3 times.
Yeah, Kajanik's been really the thorn in the side for the Scouts in both of these games. He's 2 for 2 in game number 2 and had the first hit and scored a run in the 4th inning of game number 1. So he has done a great job in both of the games of the doubleheader.
Now it's going to bring up the righty, Mark Pisanello, the designated hitter. Kajanik was the designated hitter in game number 1. That one went 7, the 6-1 victory for the Scouts. Last week lined up towards Campbell. 1-6, throw to 3 is in time. The 1-6-3 double play. Tony Campbell off of the rubber, gets it to Lee Solomon at second base, and then Lincoln Reed with the stretch finishes it off, and a great job by the Scouts infield completing that triangle.
Yeah, that was a great job fielding his position from Tony Campbell. Initially, it looked like he was kind of just throwing his glove out to make sure he stopped it, but was able to actually corral it and start the double play. And
the first pitch, Antonio Damiano, the new batter, in there for a strike. 0-1 to Damiano, who's 0 for 1 in the game. He was hit by a pitch back in that 2nd inning. Second pitch, a bit low, evened up at 1-1 to the right fielder. 1-1 from Campbell. That one drops right into the middle of the zone. 1-2. Tony Campbell. Looks like a man possessed out there on the rubber. This is his longest appearance of the season already. Next pitch gets him looking. Tony Campbell paints that outside corner and goes 1-2-3 after allowing a leadoff single. A 1-6-3 double play and a strikeout to Antonio Damiano has this game still at 2-1. Scouts trailing going to the bottom of the 5th.
So the Scouts just doing what they've needed to do on defense. Tony Campbell has been fantastic in his relief appearance, hasn't allowed a run to come across, and has came into the game with 2 separate situations and worked his way around both of them. So Tony Campbell has had himself a day on the rubber.
Now the Scouts can either have a chance to tie or take the lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Both of the Northern Ohio Baseball Club runs came back in inning number 1.
I'm just pointing you out the dancing of Cale Giddings.
Oh, okay. I thought we might see some activity in the Scouts bullpen, but no.
Thomas is walking out there.
Much more importantly, the dance moves of Cale Giddings. You can't see that in a webcam, but you're right. Thomas Wanning is walking out towards the pen. Dylan Donnelly showing off his moves and his shades as well, and it looks like Thomas will start warming up more official matters, or at least he's walking that way.
I think he's actually walking past the bullpen right now, just getting his legs all nice and loose, just walking around in between innings. So it doesn't look like he's going to get set yet, but he's going to walk out there. We don't see any catcher with him, so it'll just be him prepping.
So back in the field of play. The Scouts trailing 2-1. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Alex Albright has given up 1 earned run on 3 hits through the first 4 innings, and Lance, who's coming up for the Baby Blues here in the bottom of the 5th.
It'll be the bottom of the order, 7, 8, 9 batters here. In the bottom half of the 5th inning, it'll be Levi Gilcrease, and then Wyatt Hogan and Zach Wiley.
Now here comes Gilcrease, who singled and was passed the ball to second last time. First pitch he takes is up high. 1-0 now to the Baylor Bears center fielder. That's hits in 5 straight games, Lance.
Yep, including because of the hit he got in the opening inning.
And that one's going to be driven towards left field, right to the glove of Kajanik, though. So a good piece of wood and a nice cut from Gilcrease, but gravitated right towards the leather in left field of Brett Kajanik.
Yeah, Kajanik's been getting a lot of work out there in left field, and he's done a nice job catching everything that's came his way thus far in game 2.
I have him as 4 catches in left field now on the afternoon. Wyatt Hogan out the play, struck out last time on a full count. First pitch he takes for a strike on the nice dip from Alex Albright. Still looking pretty solid on the mound. No activity in the Northern Ohio Baseball Club bullpen either. 0-1 pitch to Wyatt Hogan. That's going to be chopped high towards third base. Picked up and thrown to first. That was high, and it's going to be a throwing error. The first error we've seen in the game. Wyatt Hogan is going to get to second base, as Aiden Campbell has his second error in the second consecutive game. So he had 1 back in game number 1. That was a throwing error towards second base. Now a throwing error towards first base.
And I think on that one, he was just thrown off because of how choppy it was off of the bat of Wyatt Hogan. So threw him off a little bit, and he tried to make a throw over there, wasn't able to make a good one, and allowed Wyatt Hogan to be safe, and he was able to advance to second as well.
And it was Aiden Campbell on that first throwing error when Wyatt Hogan was at the plate. So back-to-back times, Wyatt Hogan gets on because of error from Aiden Campbell. First pitch to Zach Wiley is low and away, 1-0. Scouts now with a runner in scoring position, 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning, trailing 2-1, trying to get their 5th consecutive victory here in game 38 of the season. Next pitch towards Wiley is going to be grounded towards Reasoner at short. Throws to first. That one is in a perfect place. 2 down now, but that will advance Hogan to third.
We'll be back up to the top of the order in Lee Solomon. He's 0 for 2 here in game number 2 with 2 groundouts to short.
And after going 2 for 2 in game number 1, 0 for 2 so far. So trying to turn around his fortune right here with a runner on third base. Scouts trying to tie up this ball game with 2 outs. First pitch from Albright. That one is inside to Solomon. 1-0 is the count. Here comes the 1-0 pitch from Albright. That one's going to be popped high in the air. That spells trouble for the Scouts as fourth parent easily puts it away, and Wyatt Hogan will be stranded in scoring position at third. And as we go to the top of the 6th inning, Scouts still trail 2-1.
And now you have to expect that we'll see some more out of Tony Campbell because we haven't seen any pitchers warming up in the bullpen for the Scouts. So got to think we're going to see Tony Campbell for at least another inning here in relief.
And you have to stick with the hot pitcher as he's given up 5 hits in this contest, but he hasn't allowed any runs. He's gotten out of bases loaded situations. He was put in a bases loaded situation when he entered the game. No outs, 3 men on, was somehow able to come away without giving up any earned runs. Loaded the bases again in the 3rd inning, and then was able to work his way out of that as well. Has allowed 3 hits in the last 2 innings combined, but has always allowed his defense to make some plays and get out of it. So why not go with Tony Campbell, who's now pitched a season-high 4 innings in this contest, looking for that number 5.
Coming up this inning for Northern Ohio will be Eric Eldred, the catcher. He's 1 for 1 in game number 2. Then will be Daniel Watson, the center fielder. He's 0 for 1. He struck out back in the 3rd. And then we'll be back to the top of the order at Forrest Perrin. He's 2 for 3 here in game number 2. And he was caught stealing the last time he tried to swipe 3rd. And Wiley said, "Nuh-uh."
So here comes Eric Eldred. Is that a successful second game? 2 RBIs, the only RBI hit of the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. Starts off this top of the second inning. Tony Campbell on the rubber, 2-1 lead. That one's ground towards Solomon at short. Picks it up, throws to first in plenty of time. So 1 pitch, 1 out to start the top of the 6th. Tony Campbell is in complete control. That brings up Daniel Watson. He's 0 for 1 today. Did have an RBI hit by a pitch back in inning number 2. Struck out swinging last time. Went 2 strikeouts on the day for Campbell in his relief effort. That one curves and finds that inside corner. That an absolute beauty. Beautiful throw from Campbell. 0-1 to Watson. Here comes the next pitch. That one misses a bit low. 1-1 now to the center fielder. Campbell, the Nyack Warrior, rises and fires that one. It's going to be fouled away towards the Scouts' dugout. That one bounces. In foul territory, 1-2 now. Campbell tries to get his second batter out here in the top of the 6th. No one on. Scouts trailing 2-1. Here comes the 1-2. That one misses well outside, and the turf evened up at 2-2 now to Daniel Watson. Got a number of parents in attendance in today's contest. We talked to Scott Carnahan. Lance talked to the Aldridges last night. 2-2 pitch. That one's going to be fouled away as well. Maybe some other family here that we don't know about. Thank you for coming out and supporting the Scouts all summer long. We've had a lot of opportunities to meet all, and most of, or at least I should say, the parents from these Xenia Scouts from all over the country. 2-2 pitch from Campbell. That one's going to be fouled backwards into the backstop as well. Watson doing a good job of staying alive at 2-2.
I know that the Orr family is here in attendance, as is Cale Giddings' dad and his brother Logan.
That's true. Giddings from Columbus, Ohio, about an hour and a half from here. Regular attenders of the games. 2-2. That one's going to be field. David Gaunt going to call off Christian. Now 2 up and 2 down here in the top of the 6th inning. Tony Campbell still mowing down these Northern Ohio Baseball Club batters. That's going to bring the Northern Ohio Baseball Club up to the top of their lineup for the 4th time today. And Forrest Perrin, who's 2 for 3 in this contest. First pitch from Campbell. Inside corner. He catches it again. Brought his paintbrush as he's painting these corners beautifully. 0-1 now to Forrest Perrin. Rises and deals. That one's going to be driven just foul to right field. He went opposite direction on that one. So now 0-2 for number 29, Forrest Perrin. Tony Campbell already has 2 strikeouts to his name. I'd love to get another here and end the top of the 6th inning and go 1, 2, 3 for 2 innings in a row. 0-2 pitch. That one's going to be driven towards Levi Gilcrease in center field. He's on his sprint and is unable to put it away. Bounces off the wall. He's going to be throwing towards 3rd. Perrin thinks better of it. Goes back to 2nd, and it's going to be the 2nd double of the afternoon for Forrest Perrin.
And yeah, it looked like Levi was going to be able to get to that one, but just wasn't able to come up with it out in center field, and that gives Perrin another double.
Forrest Perrin, 3 for 4.
He was just 1 of 11 coming into the day against the Scouts.
Didn't do much. Game number 1 has been in dynamite. Game number 2 as Michael Reisner comes to play. He's 0 for 3. Perrin has tried to steal third base both of the times. He's reached second.
One time he was successful, one time he wasn't.
Here's the first pitch to Reisner. That one is checked on in the turf. 1-0. As Reisner did not go around. Northern Ohio Baseball Club has already left 8 runners on in this contest, including a number in scoring position. 1-0 from Campbell. Swung on and missed. Reisner takes a big hack at that one. Gets a lot of air. Evened up at 1-1. 2 outs. 1 runner on second base in scoring positions for his parents. Scouts trailing 2-1 here in the top of the 6th inning. Next one from Campbell. And saying Reisner went around, so 1-2. And again, Tony Campbell 1 strike away from getting out of this top of the 6th. Last time that happened for his parent hit a 0-2 pitch to deep center field past Levi Gilcrease. That's what has him on second base right now. Here comes the 1-2 from Campbell. That one misses outside. Good eye from Reisner. And it's going to be 2-2 again.
This is easily the most patient we've seen Reisner. He's swung at the first pitch in each of his other at-bats.
And his first 3 at-bats, so this time taking another pitch. That one's going to be driven towards center field. Levi Gilcrease backpedaling and will put it away. So again, the Northern Ohio Baseball Club gets in scoring position off of the double from Forrest Perrin, who is now 3 for 4 in the contest. And Michael Reisner, who is now 0 for 4, flies out to center field for the second time of the day, and they leave a runner stranded. Tony Campbell has now gone through 5 innings, by far his longest appearance of the season. He's given up 6 hits, but most importantly, no runs.
Yeah, Tony's done a great job on the mound for the Scouts. Came in back in the 2nd inning in a bases-loaded situation, put himself in a bases-loaded situation in the 3rd inning, and Tony managed to get out of both those situations without any runs coming across, and we're now just finished the top half of the 6th. He's been doing phenomenal out there on the mound.
He's been very successful. Yes, Scouts are trying to pick him up on the opposite side of things, as Alex Albright will be back out for his 6th inning of action. Albright came in today's contest with a 4.58 ERA. He has 19 2/3 innings pitched now and 17 strikeouts on the season. Scouts trying to get a couple hits off of him. They've only had 3 total in the contest.
Yeah, Scouts bats have struggled here in game 2. Christian, Kyle, and Levi are the guys with hits, and luckily 2 of those guys are coming up to the plate here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Christian Bear will lead things off. He's 1 for 2. Kyle Carnahan will come up after him. He is also 1 for 2. And then the struggling David Gaunt will come up. He's 0 for 2 here in game number 2. That was 0 for 3 in game 1.
Scouts trailing 2-1. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning in the last regular season game at Grady's Field. Hard to believe the season is almost already over, as Christian Binger, the lefty who's had many memorable moments here at Grady's Field, steps up to the dish. First pitch from Albright. That one crosses the zone for a strike. 0-1 now. To Binger, the Bobcat from Southwest Baptist. 0-1 pitch. That one is a bit high to that small strike zone of Christian Binger. 1-1. One pitch. That one's going to be driven towards center field. Daniel Watson will put it away, though. One of the deepest hits we've seen of the year from Christian Binger. That one went dead center. But Daniel Watson able to put it away. Much ado about nothing, as it's 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, Binger got a nice piece of that one. Just hit a little too under it, and then also the deepest part of the park in dead center field allowed Watson to get under that one for the first out of the inning.
And bringing up Kyle Carnahan, who doubled last time, watches the first pitch. We're back in the zone for a strike. 0-1 to Carnahan. That one finds it outside quarter. Now Kyle down 0-2. Alex Albright. Alex Albright shakes off a couple of pitches. He's been dynamite on the rubber for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. 0-2 to Carnahan and gets him swinging and missing. Second strikeout of the day for Kyle. And we have found his kryptonite. It's Alex Albright, as he struck him out twice. Kyle went 5 for 5 yesterday.
You can't be Thor and Superman.
I thought it was applicable. Okay. Very borderline, I'll give you that. That brings up David Gahn, who is 0 for 1. And a sacrifice fly in his last at bat that moved Kyle Carnahan from second to third before he was sent home from Austin Orr. First pitch to David Gahn. That one's a bit up top. 1-0 now to David, who's playing right field today for the second time this season. He's looking pretty good out there, too. 1-0 pitch to David. That one's up top as well. 2 straight balls, both in the ceiling from Alex Albright. Alex has 4 strikeouts in this contest. Next pitch, inside corner for a strike. Beautiful delivery. Might need fact check on that. Is he have 3 or 4 strikeouts, Lance?
Albright has 3.
3, okay. That one in there for a strike as well. 2-2 count to David Gahn back at the plate. I have 3 strikeouts written down, then I put 4 tallies, and I don't know why.
You have 1 job.
I have a lot of jobs. 2-2 count with 2 outs. Here comes the pitch. That one misses. Good eye from David Gahn as he watches that one tail outside of the zone. 3-2. Full count to the right fielder. Scouts trailing 2-1. 2 outs, no one on here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Running out of time. Here comes the payoff, and that's going to drill him right between the 1 and the 7 on his back. David Gahn will now take the stroll to first. That was a fastball that just got away from Albright. That brings up Austin Orr with David Gahn on first.
And that'll be the 6th time David has been hit by a pitch, so makes him second behind his Washburn teammate Kyle Carnahan with 10.
That's 16 total for you math majors. Austin Orr, the lefty, now at the dish. Here's the first pitch to him from Albright. That one's going to be blooped over in left field, and it's going to drop in front of Kajanik. Gahn's going to third, and he's going to get there easily. So it's going to be a stand-up double for Austin Orr, and the Scouts show some life here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
That's exactly what the Scouts needed after the Scouts were gifted a base runner in the hit by pitch to David Gahn. Then Austin Orr puts that one right down that left field line. Has himself a double, and we haven't seen very many extra base hits from Austin. That's at least his 2nd double on the season, so he's done a great job here to make this a ball game again and puts runners at 2nd and 3rd with 2 down.
His last double was a week ago today against the Cincinnati Steam as Lincoln Reed, first pitch swinging, is going to have an RBI single, and let's see what happens. And it's going to be 2 RBI single. Lincoln Reed's going to advance to second, and the Scouts take the lead. As Lincoln Reed, first pitch swinging for his 3rd consecutive at-bat, drops that one right in front of the eyes of Daniel Watson in center field. And that brings home both David Gahn and the aggressive base runner Austin Orr. Scouts now lead 3-2.
That's exactly what the Scouts needed. That one just blooped out to Watson in center field. Looked like he thought he had it for a second and then realized he wasn't going to be able to get there in time to end the inning. So great job from Lincoln. Put that exactly where it had to go.
That brings up Levi Gilcrease. He's 1 for 2 today. That one's in the turf. Good block by Eldridge. I would have put Lincoln at third base. 1-0 now. Scouts up 3-2. Score 2 runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning on 2 outs. It looked very bleak for the Baby Blues, and then David Gahn was hit by a pitch on a full count. That started the rally. Lincoln Reed at second. Here's the throw towards Gilcrease at the dish. That one's low. 2-0 now to the center fielder.
And we do finally have some action in the Scouts bullpen. Thomas Wanning is up and throwing right now.
Scouts up 3-2. Runner still in scoring position in Lincoln Reed. Levi Gilcrease at the plate. 2-0 pitch is going to be swung on and hit towards center field. That one goes into the glove of Watson. He's going to make the throw home. No, he's going to be cut off at second, and it's going to be another RBI single. This one from Levi Gilcrease, who continues his torrid pace at the plate. He's 2 for 3 in the contest. Scouts now lead 4-2.
And now the Scouts are just finding the bats, and they always say hitting is contagious, and 3 straight hits from the Scouts have put them up by a score of 4-2.
And it's beginning to unravel a bit for Alexander Albright, who thought he was going to get out of his 6th inning of work with only 1 runner on the board. Had David gone and 2 strikes against him on a full count. Then he hit him in the back of his jersey. Then back-to-back first pitch swings, a double from Asanora, then a 2 RBI single from Lincoln Reed, and then on a 2-0 pitch, Levi Gilcrease ropes it towards center field. Scouts now lead 4-2, and Wyatt Hogan at the plate. First pitch to the left fielder. Pick up a tip towards first. Just caught by Hunter Handel. That throw from Eric Eldridge a little off base, but good job by the first baseman getting his glove on it. 1-0 now to Wyatt. Of Levi Gilcrease on first. 2 outs for the Scouts here in the bottom of the 6th inning. That one curves into the zone. 1-1 evened up to another Warrior on this team from Hendrix College in Arkansas. Originally from California, and Wyatt Hogan. 1-1 count with 2 outs. Pickoff attempt towards first. Gilcrease slides back in to the turf. Gets his hand on the bag and is in there cleanly. 1-1 still back at the dish. Scouts have exploded for 3 runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning to take this 4-2 lead. Leave on the move. That one's up higher. Steal attempt is not going to be there. Beautiful throw from Eric Eldred. And Wyatt Hogan will have to come back to the plate in the bottom of the 7th as Gilcrease was gunned down on an absolutely flawless throw from beyond the dish. And a nice tag applied as well by Forrest Perrin. But that will do it for the 6th, but not before the Scouts put 3 across the board and now lead by a score of 4-2 over the Northern Ohio Baseball Club.
Tony is going to be coming back out for another inning, so I think the leash is shorter now that there is some action in the bullpen. You'd have to think they want to at least get through this inning if you are the Scouts.
Tony Campbell's longest appearance of the year was 2 nights ago when he went 3 innings. He's trying to get his 6th inning here. That would be doubling his longest appearance of the season, but you could say has been his best appearance of the year because he's been phenomenal tonight.
Yeah, Tony's been just lights out thus far, and have to see if that can stay on track here as we get set to start the top of the 7th inning as the Scouts are up by a 4-2 score, and they have less hits than Northern Ohio. Northern Ohio has 8 to the Scouts 6, but Northern Ohio has that one error that they made earlier on in the game when Wyatt Hogan was up to the plate. That didn't cost anything there as Hogan was ended up stranded at 3rd. But the Scouts just doing everything they can, and that 6th inning was really gifted to them. Once got on with the hit by pitch, but the bats did all the work from there as Austin Orr, Lincoln Reed, and Levi Gilcrease all had themselves some base hits that brought home a couple runs, except for Austin's that advanced David to 3rd.
Difference in the game has been the runners left on base, just like the story last night. 6-5 win over the Grand Lake Mariners. First pitch from Campbell here in the top of the 7th inning. He's in there for a strike. Lance West aside coming up for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club.
It will be first baseman Hunter Handel, third baseman Aiden Campbell, and left fielder Brett Kajanik, as that one will hit him.
That's going to be the 2nd time that Tony Campbell has hit a batter, and the 6th time Northern Ohio Baseball Club member has been hit today, and only 3 in the starting 9 have not been hit now, as Aiden Campbell, Forrest Perrin, and Michael Reisner are the only ones in this lineup to not be hit by a pitch.
At least the Scouts are spreading the love with their hit by pitch. It's not the same guy every time.
Grady's Field is not tolerant of discrimination, as we've seen from the Scouts pitchers. On 1 count now after that bunt attempt was fouled back into home plate. Hunter Handel sitting off the bag at first base, being held on by Lincoln Reed, who just had that 2 RBI single in a clutch spot. Back of the dish. That one's going to be ground towards Christian Binger. He stops it and goes to second just in time to get the lead runner. Nice play by Binger at second base. He was unable to field it cleanly, but did enough, stopped it, and got the lead runner with the flick. And that puts away Hunter Handel.
Yeah, it was a great job for Christian to get in front of that one, stop it, and just flipped that one over to Lee Salmon and just the nick of time for the first out of the top of the 7th.
Now Aiden Campbell 0 for 4 today, but stands off of first base. That brings up Brett Kajanik. That one's going to be hit opposite direction, but foul towards the corner over there outside of Grady's field. 0-1 now to the left fielder, who was 2 for 2 today. And it was also hit by a pitch, so he's been on all 3 times in his appearances and has scored one of the 2 runs for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. The Scouts lead 4-2 here on the top of the 7th inning, 1 out, 1 on first base. Here's the pitch. That one a bit low, even up at 1-1 now to Kajanik. Aiden Campbell steps off the bag at first to get his lead. Got on with a fielder's choice. Tony Campbell back on the rubber. That one's low. Swung on anyway. Got him swinging out of the sand trap of that one as it was well in the turf. 1-2 now to Brett Kajanik. Scouts are trying to retire for the first time in game number 2 of this doubleheader. Remember, the Scouts won the first contest in 7 innings, 6-1. Ben Aldridge went all 7. As that pitch goes low, even up at 2-2. It was the 3rd complete game we've seen this season from a Scouts pitcher, 2 of which have come on 7 innings, doubleheader games. So 2-2 now. Double play ball is in effect. We saw a 1-6-3 end inning earlier. That one's going to be hit towards Lincoln Reed. He thought about going to second, but it was a little bit too late. He couldn't afford that hesitation, as Aiden Campbell was already reaching to second base. If he would have thrown to at least someone from the start, they might have had a shot. But Lincoln Reed made a smart play of not throwing to second after realizing he was already too late.
Yeah, you're taught when you hesitate like that, when it's a double play opportunity, you have to just take whatever out is closest to you. For Lincoln, it was just walking over and stepping on the first base bag, but there is 2 outs, though.
And a runner on second base. First pitch inside corner for a strike to Mark Pizzanello. He hit to that 1-6-3 double play the last time he was up. 1-1 now to the designated hitter. That one curves back into the zone. Absolutely filthy pitch by Tony Campbell. Makes it 0-2 with 2 outs. I know we're far away here at Grady's field, but you could probably see the slice on that pitch on the webcam. That one's same type of deal. Grounded towards Kyle Carnahan at third. Throws the first and put away by Lincoln Reed. So yet again, Northern Ohio Baseball Club puts a runner in scoring position, and they strand him there. So no hits in that inning after Hunter Handel got on with a hit by a pitch. Aiden Campbell got off a fielder's choice. Got to second on the ground out by Brett Kajanik. And then the 5-3 from Mark Pizzanello, and the Scouts lead going to the bottom of the 7th inning by a score of 4-2.
I think I might have just seen Coach Gates signal to the bullpen, so I think we might see a new pitcher in the top half of the 8th inning for your Scouts.
If not, regardless, an unbelievable day by Tony Campbell. 6 innings strong of no-run baseball. He has been perfect against Northern Ohio Baseball Club in bases loaded situations. Came in back in the 2nd inning with the bases loaded, no outs. Got 3 straight Northern Ohio Baseball Club players to get out without scoring a run. He put himself in bases loaded situation again in the next inning in the top of the 3rd, but yet again got out of it with a strikeout to Daniel Watson. And he's put players in scoring position time and time again, but has left them stranded for what has been his best appearance of the season, one of the best appearances out of the pen we've seen from a Scouts reliever this year.
And coming up to the plate in the bottom of the 7th for this 4-2 lead over the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. But once again, he was up to the plate after Levi Gilcrease was caught trying to steal second, so Wyatt will be the batter here with a fresh count, and then it'll be Zach Wiley, the catcher, and back to the top of the order with the shortstop.
Scouts up 4-2 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Wyatt Hogan coming to the plate. We saw him at the bottom of the 6th before Levi Gilcrease was caught stealing at second to end that big bottom of the 6th inning where the Scouts put 3 runs across the board. to double up the Northern Ohio Baseball Club by a score of 4-2. Albright still on the mound. First pitch to Wyatt Hogan, fouled towards Coach Bubba Cates in the third base coach's box.
He didn't even almost make an effort to grab that. He just turned away.
0-1 now to Wyatt Hogan. Albright delivers. That one's going to be grounded into left field, and Wyatt's going to be on with a single to start off the bottom of the 7th inning. And that's going to bring us Zach Wiley, who's 0 for 2 today. As Zach's going to take some time as he's going to talk with Coach Cates. Wyatt Hogan standing on first base after the leadoff single. There were some words of encouragement. Northern Ohio Baseball Club infield trying to adjust as well. It's like a quarterback calling an audible at the line of scrimmage. You're not knowing what's happening if you're the defense, but you're trying to adjust it on the fly yourself. Wyatt Hogan at first base. Infield playing, and he is showing bunt. Wyatt Hogan scampers back to first on the ball.
And that's I got to think what the meeting was about, because usually when we see Wiley take BP, he doesn't really try with the bunt, so he'll just throw it out there and smack it. So he's not used to trying to bunt for a sacrifice.
And a pickoff attempt towards first base. Wyatt Hogan in plenty of time. Infield playing well. Campbell about parallel with third base right now. Another bunt shown, and that one is low. So 2-0 to Zach Wiley.
And I see Tony Campbell with his jersey off, so we definitely will have a new pitcher in the next inning.
So Tony Campbell, great day, goes 6 innings, gets a couple of strikeouts, allows 6 hits, but no runs. Was perfect as the Northern Ohio Baseball Club was 0 for 4 against him in bases loaded situations. That one goes high to Zach Wiley, who's facing a 3-0 count now. And we will not be saying laying down the bunt. We'll be saying him take this 3-0 pitch. Zach Wiley sporting his signature Nike cleats. Shows the bunt on a 3-0 and pulls back for a strike. Wyatt Hogan still on first base. He had a slow roller to left field, and he's just going to be sliding back to first just in time. Good pickoff move. But Wyatt is in there safely. Another pickoff attempt from Albright. Again, Wyatt in there safely. 3-1 count back at home plate to Zach Wiley, the catcher from Union University in Jackson, Tennessee. Hogan on the run. That one's going to be flown out to Perrin at second. And that puts away Zach Wiley, who was handcuffed on that inside pitch. And he's Wyatt at first as he had to run back to first base as he was on the move.
Yeah, Wiley had to try to put that one in play, but got it on his hands like you mentioned. And Wyatt had to hustle back to make sure he wasn't doubled up over at first.
That brings up Lee Solomon, who's 0 for 3 in today's contest after going 2 for 2 in game number 1 of this doubleheader. Scouts up 4-2. First pitch to Lee is going to be grounded towards Reasoner at short, and it gets past him. Another error for Reasoner. That will be his third error of the afternoon.
Yeah, we haven't seen the best defensive plays from Reasoner over short. Looked like he had it, and then after a quick second he didn't, and it just drifted into left field.
So second error of game number 2 for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. They had 4 in game number 1, so far an average of 3 errors per contest. It's just not going to cut it for this Northern Ohio Baseball Club defense as Christian Binger comes to the plate. Washes the first pitch at that inside corner for a strike. Binger's 1 for 3 today. He singled back in the first inning.
No, he said an average of 3.
On 1 pitch to Binger. That one's up top. Evened up at 1-1.
There's one out, right? Yeah.
Wyatt Hogan stands off second base. Lee Solomon off of first. The lefty Christian Binger back at the dish. He just steps right behind Wyatt, but back of the plate is going to be grounded towards first base. It's off the glove of Handel. He picks it up, throws to first, not in time. And that's going to be error on Hunter Handel. So back-to-back errors on the Northern Ohio Baseball Club defense. That was an easy grounder. Has the bases loaded.
And it's exactly who you want coming up to the plate, despite the fact that he has 2 strikeouts today. Kyle Carnahan does have a double back in the 4th inning, so he's just been doing all kinds of good things up at the plate.
So Wyatt Hogan singled, was advanced to second on an error from Michael Reasoner at short, then advanced to third on an error from Hunter Handel at first. At least someone got on with an error, was advanced on the error, and Christian Binger gets on with an error. And if you can see, there's a trend here, and that's going to do the day for Alex Albright. He goes 6 in the 3rd of 4-run baseball, all of which were earned. I'm going to try to see who the new pitcher is in today's contest. That's going to bring another right-hander, Brandon Wright. The second player we've seen today from Seton Hill on the mound for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club is back in Game 1. Matthew Ober was also a member of Seton Hill College in Pennsylvania. Brandon Wright, 6'2", 210.
And Wright has been struggling a little bit on the season, to say the least. He's 0 for 3, a 10.94 ERA. This will be his 7th appearance. Has started 1 game this season. He does not have a save. He has 12 and 1/3 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts to go with 11 walks. His last outing was just 2 days ago against the Lake Erie Monarchs in a game Northern Ohio lost by a score of 7-2. He went 2 innings in that game, went and gave up 1 earned run, 3 runs total, 2 hits, a couple walks, and then in the game before, he struggled mightily. Went just 2/3 of an inning, gave up 5 runs on 1 hit and 4 walks. So Wright appears to have some control problems.
So that ends the day for Alexander Albright. He finishes 6 in the 3rd, innings pitched, 3 strikeouts, no walks, gave up 7 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned. All these runners on the bases will be unearned as they were on from errors or advanced on errors. So they will not be earned to either Albright or new pitcher Brandon Wright, so they're just kind of out there in thin air. The back of the dish is Kyle Carnahan, who's been red hot lately. 1 for 3 today. Has doubled and scored one of the Scouts' 4 runs, but has struck out twice, once looking, once swinging. Both of those to Alexander Albright, who's put in just like Tony Campbell was with bases loaded, except for he has 1 out in the ground ball double play in effect. First throw from Wright. That one misses outside. Eric Eldridge back at the dish. 1-0 now to Carnahan.
I think they teach a certain kind of release at Seton Hill, because his release looks very similar to Perry Delavellis.
We've seen a number of Seton Hill pitchers around the Great Lakes League this season. Perry Delavello of the Licking County Settlers. 1-0. That one's be grounded towards second. Parent picks up, throws to Reasoner at short, and that one's way up top. So what should have been a double play, and Lee Solomon safe at the plate. Somehow was able to get home, and what's happening right now is Christian Binger, who is out at second base. Okay, that's what's happening. Christian Binger. They thought he was going to third, but he was already out at second. So it's a 2 RBI fielder's choice for Kyle Carnahan. Just unbelievable base running on the dolphin dive from Lee Solomon. Somehow was able to touch home plate.
It's got to be in there somewhere.
There's going to be an error as well in the play.
Initially, because of it when going to second base first.
So before errors now, try to give you who the error was on earlier as David Gahn comes to the plate. Kyle Carnahan sitting on first base after the 2 RBIs he just knocked in. (1-0) to Gaunt. Make it 1-1 as it finds the inside corner for a strike. 1-1. And the error will be on Perrin at second base. That one's driven by Gaunt to left center field, and it's going to get over the head of Kajanik and bounce off the wall. Kyle Carnahan's rounding third, heading home, and he's going to score easily for the third run here in the bottom of the seventh inning. David Gaunt brings home his teammate for his 34th RBI of the season.
And that time it looked like Kajanik misplayed that one a little bit out there and left, and that resulted in an RBI double from David Gaunt. The Scouts now just adding on to their total. And it was a struggle the first few innings. The bats didn't seem to travel from game one to game two, but it's been 3 runs this inning and 3 runs in the sixth inning to make it a 7-2 score.
So RBI double from David Gaunt. Brandon Wright was put in this game with bases loaded. Gave up 2 to Kyle Carnahan, and that one to David Gaunt. None of those earned against him as they were all on before he was there. That one from Austin Orr, chopped towards Reisner at short, and he bobbles it again. Another error on Reisner. And it's been an error palooza here in the bottom of the seventh inning for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club.
Remember way back at the start of the season when there was a bunch of errors when we played at Lincoln County? That was bad. This is way worse. It's just error after error after error for these guys.
And you have to feel bad for the pitchers of the Northern Ohio Baseball Club because they haven't done bad out there. It's just their infield is not giving them much support now with runners on the corners as Austin Orr is on first base. Lincoln Reed at the dish. As he takes that first one low, it's the first time of the day Lincoln Reed did not swing at a first pitch. David Gaunt sitting at third, advanced from second to third on the error from Reed. And that one misses outside. 2-0 now to Lincoln, the Trojan from Taylor University in Indiana. 3 runs have already crossed here in the bottom of the seventh inning. And here comes the 2-0 pitch. That one's well inside, almost clipped Lincoln. So now he'll be looking at a 3-0 count. As Wyatt Hogan, Lee Solomon, and Kyle Carnahan have all come around to score here in the bottom of the seventh. Scouts lead by a score of 7-2. And that one hits the outside corner for a strike from right. 3-1 now to Lincoln Reed. David Gaunt stands at third base right now. He had a RBI double that sent home Kyle Carnahan. Austin Orr just gone on another error from Reisner. Orr's on the move, and it doesn't really matter because that's going to be a walk to Lincoln Reed to load the bases for Levi Gilcrease, and now the Scouts will bat around here in the bottom of the seventh inning. Gaunt on third, Orr on second, and Reed on first base. Scouts have exploded these last 2 innings. Now lead the Northern Ohio Baseball Club by a score of 7-2. Looked like the bats were sleeping innings 1 through 5. Finally come alive here in a big way here in the last 2. And Levi Gilcrease, who already has an RBI to his name, can do some more damage. First pitch from Brandon Wright. That one misses low. 1-0. RBI came in the last inning. One of the 3 runs that were batted in. That one brought home Lincoln Reed, who now stands at first base. 2 outs for the Scouts. 7-2 lead. That one's going to be chopped over towards third base. Picked up by Campbell. Thrown to first and just got Levi Gilcrease. Not by much. And that leaves the bases stranded. But not before the Scouts put another tray spot on the board and lead this game 7-2 going to the top of the 8th inning.
Personally, I think that call was just because the Scouts had done a bunch of damage at it. It looked like he just beat that out.
It was very close, a bang-bang play. And the Scouts will leave 3 on.
And now Thomas Wanning will come in relief of Tony Campbell.
Only 2 hits in that inning, but 3 runs come across, and the Scouts leave 3 runners on. Now left 6 runners on in the contest, half of them coming in that inning. But with a lead well in command, with only 6 outs left for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club, Scouts in clear control of this one by a score of 7-2.
And for every inning, I write down the runs, the hits, and the errors and the left on base for every team. And it was 3 runs that inning, 2 hits, 3 left on, but the big one, 4 errors. That's the most I've ever seen in one inning, let alone one game. As you now hear, Bad Blood over the loudspeakers. Thomas Wanning's walk-up song.
The giant cyborg, Thomas Campbell, an ultimate sidearm pitcher. So, Wanning comes into the game after 6 stellar innings from Tony Campbell. We already wrapped up his game earlier, but we can do it again. He deserves it. 6 innings pitched, 2 strikeouts, 6 hits given up, and 0 earned runs. The Northern Ohio Baseball Club was 0 for 4 against Campbell with runners on every single base. Lance Hughes coming out for the sides. We see the first pitch ground towards Lee Solomon at short. Picked up, thrown to first, and in time.
That was Damiano, who was up to the plate there, and then would be Eric Eldred and Daniel Watson.
0.
No, Eric Eldred now at the dish. He's 1 for 2 today. Wanting throws from the side. As we tip backwards, might have hit the glove of Lincoln Reed. 0-1. Scouts lead 7-2 here at Grady's Field, the last home game of the regular season. Scouts looking for their 5th straight victory. They already won once against the Northern Ohio Baseball Club today. That was 6-1. That must be chopped past the foot of Wanting, and it goes in the center field for a single. First hit given up by Thomas. Eric Eldred continues his great day, now 2 for 3.
And that one was hit screaming back towards Wanting and wasn't able to even try and make a defensive play. It was getting out of the way okay.
That brings up Daniel Watson, who's 0 for 2 today, but was hit by a pitch. And that one curves inside just off the fingertips of Watson. Nearly avoids hitting him for the second time. 1-0 count from Wanting. That was swung on and missed. He got way out ahead of that one. 1-1. Beautiful pitch from Wanting. Eric Eldred gets his lead off at first. He's going. Thomas Wanting doesn't know. Now throws the second and will not be in time. Eric Eldred was on the move. Wanting was stoic on the mound. Did not know he was running behind him until it was too late.
Yeah, he tried to step off because he was just kind of chilling there. He was able to step off, but wasn't able to do it quick enough to throw at Eldred, who had a very big jump over there from first.
Wanting bent all the way down at his waist to the right side. He's a righty, so it must be hard to see runners back at first base. Didn't even know Eldred was on the move. So they heard it from the screams from the fans in attendance and his Xenia Scout teammates. Back at the dish, 1-1 with 1 out to Daniel Watson. Here comes the pitch. That one almost hits him as well. 2-1 now to Daniel Watson. Watson came into today's 2 fixtures under the Mendoza line in batting average. 2-1 count to him now. That one finds the inside corner for a strike. Evened up at 2-2. Thomas Wanting, the Xavier Musketeer from Northern Michigan. Bends all the way down again. 2-2 pitch with 1 out. Here it comes. That one's going to be checked and bounced towards the Northern Ohio Baseball Club dugout. And we'll do it again at 2-2. Scouts up 7-2 here in the top of the 8th inning. Trying to get that 5th straight victory and the season sweep of the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. 2-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Second strikeout in game number 2 for Daniel Watson. This one off of the right sidearm of Thomas Wanting. It's going to be the 3rd strikeout total for the Xenia Scouts pitching staff as Tony Campbell had 2 in his own right. And that brings up Forrest Perrin, who has been Mr. Everything for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. At the plate, he is 3 for 4 today. in game number 2. First pitch to him with Campbell at second, a bit low and inside, 1-0. Eric Eldridge singled right back at the mound and got past the feet of Wanting and then stole second base. That's what puts him in scoring position. 1-0 is going to be dribbled off of his foot, foul. And now 1-1. Back to Perrin. Northern Ohio Baseball Club went up early in this contest, scored both their runs in the second inning. And then the Scouts are able to answer back. Innings 4, 6, and 7 in a big way as that pitch goes inside for a strike. 1-2 now to Perrin, and now lead by a score of 7-2. One-two count. Thomas to strike away from getting out of the inning. That one's chopped over towards Carnahan at third. Throws to first. And that was a bit high. And the tag applied from Reed is going to get him. Lincoln Reed with quite the athletic play. That was a long throw from Kyle Carnahan. Lincoln jumps up, grabs it, and applies the tag to Perrin just in time before he squeaks onto the bag. And the Northern Ohio Baseball Club are down to their last 3 outs of the contest. Going to the bottom of the 8th inning, the Scouts lead by a score of 7-2.
And as you can possibly see in the webcam, it's getting a little dark out there past the outfield. And it's currently 90 degrees here in Xenia. It feels like 101, so it feels probably even hotter down on that field turf. But it does say tonight there will be thunderstorms, also some tomorrow as well. So I hope that doesn't impact the rest of the game here. Of course, we have field turf, so even if it does start to come down, we can play through it up to a certain point. And more importantly, after this game, tomorrow we'll have a picnic with all of our host families that could impact that greatly if it's raining.
And we made ice cream sandwich cake today.
If we don't have it tomorrow, we're just going to pick out. So, I mean, I'll be okay either way, but we prepared it for the whole team.
That was meant for everyone. But
otherwise, it's going to be bad for my stomach.
I'm down for eating a fourth of that. Absolutely delicious. Another host mom, Linda Johannes, knows her way around the kitchen, shows us a thing or two all summer long to Miles, Will, Lance, and myself as we learn some tricks of the trade and some of the best desserts you can ever imagine this side of the Mississippi River. As we head to the bottom of the 8th inning, Brandon Wright back on the rubber.
Do you know of desserts on the other side of the Mississippi River?
I don't. That's why I said that.
But you should know what another dessert is to compare
I have no idea. I don't go to that side of the Mississippi River often.
That's a good point. Maybe Miles could tell us something.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we're here in the bottom of the 8th inning as Lance and I get completely off track. Lance who's coming out for the side for the Baby Blues.
For the Xenia Scouts, it'll be back to Wyatt Hogan once again as the Scouts batted around in that 7th inning. So Wyatt will lead it off once again. And it'll be Zach Wiley who's doing the catching today. And back to the top of the order with Lee Solomon.
So Wyatt Hogan at the plate. Today he's 1 for 3 and did score back in that last inning.
I think they might be talking about weather concerns. Could be some lightning out there.
Okay, there's a lightning streak.
And now we're going to see what exactly is going on. We're checking through our weather procedures up here in the press box, but it's like the guys are walking off of the field. So if we did see the lightning, that would delay the game for I think at least 30 minutes. So it looks like we're going to go into a weather delay, and I did just mention the skies, but didn't know if we were going to have a lightning delay right now, and it appears we will.
As we do have a lightning procedure up here in the press box, and I had nothing to want to do with that, so I gave it off to Will Cruz, as he's going to make a public address announcement here at Grady's Field to let the folks know what's going on. Scouts up 7-2. No one from down there has signaled up here yet.
Well, they've already walked off the field.
Well,
So.
that's a pretty solid signal. We're assuming it's lightning. That's our assumption.
Because it's not pouring or anything.
We, God forbid, it'd be a tornado or something like that, but
It's too still for a tornado.
so we're just kind of assuming it's lightning. I haven't seen any or heard any. That's the only weird part about this.
And so if the game did stop for whatever extended period of time, it'd be a Scouts win as they're up 7-2 after already 5 total innings of play.
Hey, Charlie, can you go down there and check, see what happens? Yeah. Yeah, go ask something.
As you know, it has to be 5 innings complete to count as a game in the books, and we've already passed that threshold, so we'll go back to the last full inning, which was after 7.
Anyway, seeing as there wasn't a run scored.
Yeah, so it'd go back to the 7th where the Scouts left leading 7-2, so they would get the victory 7-2. We will step aside if it's for too long, but we're going to hang on for just a little bit, make sure it is a lightning delay. So lightning is 10 miles away, so Lance and I will step aside as we deal with this 30-minute lightning delay. When we come back, we'll have the conclusion of this game. Hopefully, keep up to date with the Scouts on Twitter as we let you know what happens through this lightning delay. Here in the bottom of the 8th inning, the Scouts lead 7-2. Lance Morris and myself, Terry Lash, signing off for a little while. And we're back, folks. As I guessed, it was a little shorter than expecting.
We're like 5, exactly 5, exactly.
The play will resume, so I don't know what to tell you about what just happened. We didn't see any lightning. I believe they said it was 10 miles out. But if we don't see anything, we don't have metal bats here. So we'll play it by ear as the first pitch to Wyatt Hogan here in the bottom of the 8th inning goes a bit high on the check swing, 1-0. Again, Wyatt Hogan starts off the inning just like he did in the bottom of the 7th when the Scouts put 3 runs across the board. They lead 7-2. That one's going to be fouled up high. And it might hit one of the storm clouds, and it's going to be dropped in foul territory by Forrest Perrin. That one's only a few feet from being dropped in fair territory. It's a little bit off that foul line, but it was clearly foul. So Wyatt Hogan will have to do it again at 1-1. But again, unfortunate redo for Wyatt Hogan at the plate.
Yeah, definitely Definitely fortunate on that one. Could have been caught out there down that first base line.
I looked it up.
So you got to wonder if Wyatt can make good of a second chance.
I was asking that question. That's crazy.
No, Wyatt Hogan at the plate. 1-1.
I've had that situation happen.
Brandon Wright throws home. That one's up top. 2-1 now to White.
MLB.
Brandon Wright, the second pitcher we've seen of the day from Seton Hill. And here goes the 2-1 to Wyatt Hogan. That one's way tipped backwards into the netting in front of us, evened up at 2-2 to Wyatt. Dylan Dulling goes up and grabs that ball. Good work, Dylan.
He takes a lot of pride in doing that.
He does. He's very good at what he does. He's also a pitcher in his spare time. 2-2 now to Wyatt Hogan. Brandon Wright stands on the far left side of that rubber licking home. Delivers the 2-2, and that one's going to be lined out of play to the right side. Wyatt Hogan will stay alive and do it again at 2-2. Do not see any activity in the Scouts bullpen. I thought we might see Joe Chasen again for the third straight night, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. They're going to rely on Thomas wanting to try to close it out and keep Joe fresh going to, well, next week. Here's the 2-2, and that one's going to be driven towards right field and put away on the dive by Damiano. Originally, I thought that was going to drop. It was kind of an awkward approach to that ball in right field. He stopped, back pedal, came up, kind of just fell on his dive, but was able to put his glove on it, so it was very effective and puts away Wyatt.
Wasn't the most graceful of dives, but nonetheless gets the job done for the first out here in the bottom of the eighth.
And he doesn't have that ballerina-like grace that I described Cale Giddings as having yesterday. Now Zach Wiley at the dish. That one misses outside 1-0.
Yeah, Cale didn't exactly think that was a compliment when I told him on the ride home.
He's going to have to because he has so much grace. 1-0 now to Zach Wiley. Here comes the next pitch. Misses outside, 2-0. 0-3 now to Zach Wiley. Excuse me, 2-0 now. He's 0 for 3 in the contest. Got my thoughts jumbled up. Here's the delivery from right. That one's way up top. 3-0 now to the catcher, who's now 0 for 6 against the Northern Ohio Baseball Club in the series. Again, 3 catchers starting for the Xenia Scouts. 3-0. That one's going to be taken right down the middle for a strike. Now 3-1 to Zach Wiley. Once again, Lance Morris will not be here for the post game as he has to go over and talk to the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. The Scouts are sharing the gospel today. That one misses up top. 4 balls to Zach Wiley. Now he stands on first base. Second walk in consecutive innings for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. And that's going to be the second one for Brandon Wright.
So that'll bring up Lee Solomon, who reached on an error his last time up, as did the next couple batters for the Scouts.
That first pitch misses for a ball. Zach Wiley stands off of first base. Lee Solomon at the plate. 1-0. It's in there for a strike. Zach Wiley still off of first. 1-1 now. Here's the 1-1 to Solomon. Swung and missed. So now 1-2 to the shortstop. He is 0 for 4 today. They come around to score last time after reaching on the error from Michael Reasoner at shortstop. Zach Wiley stands off the bag at first. Here comes the 1-2, and it's a bit low. 2-2 to Lee Solomon.
It's really just dependent on the at-bat for Lee. Sometimes he'll swing first couple pitches. Sometimes he'll work into a 2-2 or a 3-2.
2-2 count. Here's the delivery from right. That one's going to be driven into right center field, and that one's dangerous for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club. Zach Wiley's going to have to be on his horse. He's rounding third right now as the ball comes into the infield, and a stand-up triple for Lee Solomon, and he made that one look easy.
He makes a lot of things look much easier than they are. And that seemed to just be a double in the gap, but Watson didn't really hustle out to that one as it dropped down into play. And Solomon's easily able to get to third on a stand-up triple. Triples are hard enough to see, but it was very rare.
That's going to be the fourth run given up by Brandon Wright. That's going to be the first one earned, I believe. So now Lee Solomon stands on third base right now. The Xenia Scouts lead 8-2. As that Storms come closing in on us, the Scouts came storming back in this game. And like lightning crashing the ground, we have a pitching change as Mark Pizzanello, the designated hitter, is coming to the mound. And that does it for Brandon Wright after giving up that stand-up triple to Lee Solomon. Didn't expect this as the first pitch goes way above the head of Eric Eldridge. As you can see that on the webcam, that might hit the net.
Pizzanello has one other time he's been in a game. It was against the Lima Locos on June 8th, so at the start of the season. That was a game that Northern Ohio lost by a score of 14-0, but he didn't do too bad. He went 2 innings, gave up 2 runs on 3 hits and 1 walk, faced 13 batters, so not primarily a pitcher, I would think.
No, but we'll see what he has to do here. The pitcher from John Carroll University. That ends the day for Brandon Wright, who struggled on the mound. Scouts now lead quadrupling the Northern Ohio Baseball Club 8-2 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. As Christian Binger comes to the plate with 1 out, 1 on. Lee Solomon sitting on third base right now after that stand-up RBI triple that brought home Zach Wiley. Now here comes Binger. He is 1 for 4 in the contest, reached on an error last time. That first one in there for a strike. Christian did have a single back in the first inning. He has a stolen base in game number 2 of this doubleheader. 0-1 pitch, and that one is painting the outside corner. 0-2 now, and Pizzanello looks pretty good out there. Oh, and I did see lightning. 0-2 pitch to Christian Binger, and that gets him looking. That's strike 3. I don't know if the home plate umpire just missed it. A definite lightning strike in the background. I guess I'll keep that quiet.
Yeah, we'll keep that to ourselves.
That'll be between us and you listening at home on the webcam. That's the first strikeout for Binger in game number 2. That brings up Kyle Carnahan. First pitch to him inside corner for a strike. Kyle has struck out 2 times today. 4 total strikeouts now for the Northern Ohio Baseball Club, 2 of which against Carnahan. Solomon on third, trying to come home. That was going to be chopped barely off, and that's going to be thrown to first and puts away Carnahan. That was a complete dribbler, barely got past home, played right in front of Pizzanello, picks it up, throws to first, and leaves Solomon stranded at third, and not before the Scouts add another run. There'll be 6 insurance runs for the Xenia Scouts as we head to the top of the 9th inning. Scouts lead 8-2, and Thomas Wanning steps back on the rubber. Thomas Wanning trying to complete his 2nd inning and close out this contest. He came in for Tony Campbell, who pitched 6 incredible innings. Wanning last time gave up 1 hit and allowed Eric Eldridge to steal second base and then retired. Forced Parent and the inning. Lance, who's coming up here in the top of the 9th in the last breath of the Northern Ohio Baseball Club.
It'll be the middle of their lineup. It'll be 2, 3, 4. Michael Resner will lead things off. Has struggled today. He's 0 for 4. That'll be Hunter Handel, first baseman. He's 1 for 3. Was hit by a pitch his last time at the plate. And Aiden Campbell has also struggled a little bit here in game number 2. He's 0 for 4. He reached on a fielder's choice his last at bat.
And I saw more lightning in center field. So it's definitely coming. See if we can get these 3 outs quickly and get out of Dodge, or more appropriately, get out of Grady's field. As Michael Reasoner up to the plate. First pitch to him is a bit low. 1-0 to the shortstop, who's had a struggle fest today in the infield. And 1-0, that one misses up top. 2-0 now to Reasoner. Scouts trying to close out this game and get that 5th straight victory. 2-0 pitch. That one's going to be driven towards Carnahan at third. Makes it look so easy over there. That one on a screamer. One hops right at his knees. Easily just picks it up, throws to first. I don't know how he does it.
He does a great job down at third base. He got in front of that one that screamed to him and just got that in his glove and just kind of said, hey, look what I found, and I'll throw it over to first in time for the out.
And Hunter Handel comes up to the dish. 1 for 3 in this contest. Was hit by pitch last time. Was almost hit by pitch there. That one well inside. 1-0 now to the first baseman. 1-0 from Wanting. That one inside as well, but swung on and fouled. So it evens up at 1-1 to the left-handed first baseman, Hunter Handel. Thomas Wanting on the rubber, trying to finish things out here in the top of the 9th inning. That one misses outside. 2-1 now from the Musketeer. Steps in the box. 2-1 pitch. That one's going to be driven towards right field, and David Gaunt. And it's going to be single for Handel, his 2nd in game number 2.
Yes.
So now 1 on, 1 out. And Aiden Campbell coming up to the dish. He got on with a fielder's choice last time, 0 for 4 in the 2nd game of this doubleheader. Remember, Scouts won the first game 6-1. Now up 8-2 here in the top of the 9th inning. Next pitch is going to be in there for a strike right down Main Street. 0-1 to Campbell. On 1 pitch, that one's way up top. Does not drop. Evened up at 1-1 now. Hunter Handel sitting off at first after he just got that single. It was a 2nd hit given up by Wanting so far. 1-1 pitch, and that one is low. Make it 2-1. Back at home plate to Aiden Campbell.
It's something we usually say when Wanting's at the hill. He's always pretty much good for that first inning. It's the 2nd inning where he usually finds struggles.
Now 2-1 to Campbell. That one misses inside. 3-1. There has not been a walk in this game from a Xenia Scouts pitcher. Thomas Wanting for 3-1 count now. Trying to avoid that. Here's the 3-1. That one's going to be fouled against the, looks like the shin of Aiden Campbell. Makes it a full count.
Luckily, Campbell does have a shin guard on that left ankle over there.
That's why they wear him, because that would have definitely hurt. Hunter Handel gets his lead off of first base. Full count. Payoff pitch incoming from the sidearm throw. That one's going to be popped up high in the air. Christian Binger is going to call gone and put it away. So 2 down. Scouts 1 out away for that 5th straight victory.
Now batting number 7, Brett Kajanik.
That brings up Brett Kajanik. 2 for 3 in this contest. He's been on 3 out of 4 times. As wind has picked up here at Grady's field. Scouts an out away. Runner on first base. First pitch from Wanting a bit low. 1-0 now to the left fielder.
Janik has been a thorn in the side of the Scouts all day. Has 2 hits here in game 2 and 1 in game 1.
1-0 from Wanting. That one misses up a bit high. 2-0 now to the left fielder. Want to try and close out this contest. Two-0 pitch. That one's well inside. Now quickly 3-0 to Kajanik. Hunter Handel still standing on first base after he got his single. Scouts trying to sweep not only this doubleheader against the Northern Ohio Baseball Club, but the season series between these two teams. 3-0, and that one drops in there for a strike. 3-1 now to Brett Kajanik. Thomas Wine trying to work his way back. Trying to make this the final out of the game. 3-1's driven towards Levi Gilcrease in center field. Is going to hop in front of him. So another single. That's the third single of the day for Kajanik. Puts runners on first and second base.
Runners on first and second now. Scouts 1 out away from finishing it up here in the top of the ninth. And it'll be Mark Pisanello, the DH, that turned into a pitcher in the last half inning.
Righty versus righty battle here. First pitch to Pisanello inside corner for a strike. We do not see Joe Chasen warming up. Might change if Wanting gets in any more trouble, but now down 0-2 is Pisanello. He came in 1 for 3 going into this at bat. Was hit by a pitch back in the second inning. One of the 2 runs that scored from Northern Ohio Baseball Club. 0-2 pitch from Wanting. That's going to be chopped foul towards Coach Sullivan at third base. Hunter Handel on second. Brett Kajanik on first. And here goes the next one. That's going to be chopped towards Wanting. Picks it up on the bounce. Throws to first in time. And that's going to do it. And the Scouts sweep the season series and the doubleheader. They win today's contest amidst the lightning going around in the background. 8-2 over the Northern Ohio Baseball Club.
Great outing today from the Scouts. They win 8-2. Had less hits than Northern Ohio, but 5 errors. It's going to come back to bite you anytime you have that many errors. You're probably not going to win the game, and that was the case here today for Northern Ohio.
And Lance Morris is going to have to get going because he has to go present. So we'll move the webcam over here in 1 second.
Hey, Jeff, can you get Tony? Yeah.
And Tony Campbell is going to be our player of the game. And then afterwards, we'll have a special interview with Miles Wright up here in the press box. He is due a player of the game interview after our web stream dropped against the Grand Lake Mariners. Miles has been hanging up with the press box for game number 2. We'll not only get to watch his high school teammate, Tony Campbell, win his first player of the game award, but he's going to get to talk himself. Scouts win 8-2. Hey, Will, can you hit the light over there? It's a little dark up here. Fans at home need to see Miles. Like, so my laptop actually freezes. I'm trying to lower the screen so I can see what it looks like. Miles on the headset now, and Miles, you're going to take over for Lance. You are now your roommate, Lance Morris. What are your thoughts of that victory?
I thought it was a solid victory. We had a lot of guys who have been struggling and trying to find, some spots and some holes in the field to finally get some hits, and I thought some guys really came through today.
And we're going to move backwards. Miles, unfortunately, and I can presume lost for the season due to the fractured foot. Can you tell us a little more update on your medical condition?
I hit a foul ball off the inside of my foot, and I didn't think initially that it was going to be as bad as it was. I was able to finish the game, and thankfully make a good throw to save a win yesterday. But then last night I had my foot down for about 2 hours in the van ride home, and it tightened up, and they said this morning that it's a small fracture.
And we're going to continue this interview with Miles Wright, but first we have to give the headset over to Tony Campbell, today's player of the game. High school teammates passing off the headset to each other here in Xenia, Ohio, from Katy, Texas, and the Katy Taylor Mustangs. Now here in the Grady's Field press box. Tony Campbell, again, congratulations on your first player of the game. Most impressive stat to me, the Northern Ohio Baseball Club was 0 for 4 against you with bases loaded. You were put in a tough spot. No one out, bases chalked. What were you thinking coming to the game?
Basically, Coach came up to me, and we have you don't want to give up all of them. Just want to manage damage control. Just try to get maybe 2 runs and just try to get somebody out every time somebody comes up.
You were definitely feeling it out there. Before today, your longest appearance of the year was 3 innings. Went 6 innings strong this afternoon. Was there anything different about your approach or how you felt on the mound tonight?
They were just swinging at the pitches. They're getting themselves out. It was much easier than trying to strike somebody out.
Talk about what kind of pitches were you throwing. What was working for you on the rubber tonight?
Most of the pitches I threw were fastball curveballs, and just they were swinging over the top of them, trying to hit them deep. And if you do that against me, you're pretty much going to roll over.
8-2 victory, so you wouldn't have thought it. But this was a game where the Scouts were trailing for a long time. You guys didn't explode until the 3rd inning. What are you thinking as a pitcher as your team's kind of struggling at the bats?
Just try to keep it close. Try to keep the team in the game. Don't give up more than like 2 or 3. Try to keep it where it's manageable.
And I just want to know, what was your mindset going into today's contest? I imagine you thought you were going to come out to relieve Nick. Wasn't expected to go too long. But did you think you were going to go about 6 innings? Do you think that was more of a surprise to you?
My goal was to get about 5 to the 5th inning. Once I found out I was coming in the 2nd, it was try to get to the 5th, give it up to the bullpen, and make sure they didn't have to expend their arms as much as they did, or as much as they would have.
All right, last question. How's that arm feeling after going 6 innings, more than double any you've gone this season?
It's tired.
It's really tired? Feeling really sore?
Tomorrow.
Luckily for Tony, a week off to the Scouts for their next game, but an unbelievable performance. 6 innings pitched, gave up 0 earned runs. One of the best relief efforts we've seen this year out of the Scouts bullpen.
Thanks, man.
So thanks, Tony. We'll take his headset. I'll take it off his head, and we'll give it back to his high school teammate, Miles Wright. As we're going to adjust the laptop one more time. Tony has a shout-out to his mother back at home. So, Miles Wright, here comes some of the hard-hitting questions. It's got to be tough as we're going to the last 2 games of the year. Scouts, hot as they've been, 5-game winning streak. How hard is it to deal with this injury, considering all that's going on with the team that you've gotten so close to?
Well, I was talking to Coach today, and it's actually interesting. We're going through this thing right now in discipleship about trials. And so I was like, man, what better timing than now to be able to be going through a little trial. So I think that's good that I have my mindset kind of fixed on the Lord and just focusing on, he's got a plan. It might not be a good plan in my eyes right now, but I'm going to deal with it and see what happens and see what he does with it.
So this is the last time we'll get an interview. You kind of wrap up the summer, if you can. What's been some of the high spots for you? What have you enjoyed in your summer in Xenia, Ohio, way away from home in Katy, Texas?
Honestly, I've enjoyed the host family the most. We have, as he knows, we have 2 riots of host parents. Rick and Linda are pretty awesome.
They're great if they're watching at home.
Super sweet, and Rick is hilarious. He texts us every game now since he found out that if he tells us to do bad, then we'll actually win. And so he tells us, hey, make sure you do really bad today. And then we've been on 5-game win streak since he said that, so it's been helpful.
So the key to the Xenia Scouts, reverse psychology from Rick Johannes back at home off of Union Road. Now Scouts with that 5-game winning streak. Now, what are your expectations now, trying to remove yourself from the actual playing field, now looking from a spectator back up here in the press box? What did you like out here? What did you think needs to probably be improved going into next weekend against the Galleon Raiders?
It's definitely stressful. I had one mix-up where I was playing 2 songs at the same time, so that was a little scary. But it definitely gave me more appreciation for what y'all do. It's hard work, man.
So the baseball player gets a shot to see what it's like up here in the prospect. Miles Wright did a great job handling music tonight. Did have one mess up, but we don't really hear that when we're broadcasting the game, so no skin off our backs. I'm sure Miles did a great job. It's been so much fun living with you this year. It's heartbreaking to hear about your foot fracture and that you're not going to be able to finish out the season, but it's great that we have at least another week with you as we go through a vacation Bible school this week at Emmanuel Baptist Church. Couple of fun events planned for the Scouts through the coming weeks. They're actually sharing with the Northern Ohio Baseball Club after today's game. They have one more sharing left, in which I will be sharing. That one, Lance Morris will be handling the broadcast by himself. But we're going to wrap up today's game, the 2nd game of the doubleheader. The Scouts win by a score of 8-2. sweep the Northern Ohio Baseball Club in not only today's doubleheader, but the season series. And now riding that 5-game winning streak going into next week's contest against the Galleon Graders. Keep in tune with us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, XeniaScouts.com, where we'll have nightly game recap stories, and we'll try to figure out some stats from all of our All-Stars. All 6 All-Stars will be playing at Prasco Park down on Saturday. We'll give you good coverage of that as well. And that's going to do it for us in our final regular season game of the season at Grady's Field. We imagine we're going to play one home playoff game here at least as well. That'll do it for my roommate, Miles, the right fielder for the Xenia Scouts, and myself, Terry Lash. Good night, and God bless, folks.